Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I know a little bit late, 4 picks in. Talking NBA draft, me, D-Lock.
You.
So we're gonna be discussing pick by pick reaction tonight. D-Lock, your Magic. They chose Paulo Banchero. What's your thoughts on that? Real quick before the Pistons get their pick in.
To be honest with you, man, I love the pick. I think I messaged you when we found out that we were going to get that number one pick. That's what I wanted. When you look at the roster, right, you got your four guards. You got Jalen Suggs. You got Cole Anthony, Markel Fultz, R.J. Hampton, and Gary Harrison, who's a free agent now.
Yeah.
Hopefully we see what Jonathan Isaac does if he does come back healthy. Don't know what Mo Bamba is going to do specifically, but even with him, you got Wendell Carter. Chuma's going to be a hell of a power forward. Franz Wagner had a hell of a rookie season. He was all pro first team. So you needed one piece, and I felt like we needed a small forward. And that was a big piece that we needed. I know everybody talked about Jabari Smith, but grabbing Paulo was a huge pick. Getting Ivan to the Pistons. So, yeah, very good pick. So, for me, I think we all know the history that Duke has with their players. Paulo coming through that history. So you're probably going to start him at the 3. Franz Wagner, you're probably going to bump down to the 4, see what Jonathan Isaac is going to look like. But I love the pick, man, to be honest with you. I think he's a game changer. And the history of Duke, I definitely love what we got out of him, to be honest with you.
Well, with Jaden Ivey going to the Pistons, we'll get to that pick here in a second. For me, for Paulo going there, I love the pick. I think to me it was either him or Jarabi Smith, because I think Chet Holmgren was kind of like more similar to Jonathan Isaac in a way,
right?
Than the other two. The other two guys, excellent scorers. We seen what they did, and I think it was like either or. And then you talk about the odds and stuff like that. Banchero's odds are going up and up for the past couple of days, and look where we're at now.
Right.
He was the selection. I think one thing they got to do, they got to get rid of Jonathan Isaac. I think Paulo and Jonathan Isaac, they can't play together.
Yeah.
They can't. And plus,
you're going to have to move him because, for one, you just gave this man $80 million off another injury.
Yep.
So you don't know, what is this, his second injury, third injury in that area?
Yeah.
It's $80 million. Like, remember I told you before, the thing about the Magic is, like, they don't really dial into their future and hold on to it. But the fact is, you have a player that continues to be hurt, hasn't really lived up to what we expect. I think he's a great defensive player, but what has he brought you, really? So, point, he's about 6'10", about 6'10", 240, 250, somewhere in that range. You're probably looking at somebody like Apollo, who's very similar, but has a better offense. So Chuma's going to be a great defender. Franz Wagner looked like an outstanding player. You're going to move Wendell Carter down to the 5. Mo Bamba's probably going to be gone. So forward Paulo, and he's going to be a cheaper player to play with. You don't know what Jonathan Isaac is going to do. That's the second pick, including Mo Bamba, that you had a player, you just didn't produce them how they're supposed to. So hopefully, I told you this, I think we talked about it Sunday night, who we pick and follow, whoever we were going to pick, we have to be a person and look at this person 5 to 10 years from now. So that's what they need to do with Paulo and say, okay, this is our guy. We're going to live with him, and we're going to build around this guy. So I agree with you there. Jonathan Isaac probably needs to be traded. Him in that contract, Paul probably is going to be the next person traded as well, along with James Ross, who we've seen is on trade block.
He gonna buy his
Yeah. I think there's stories that Terrence Ross is on the block near Jonathan Isaac come off the injury. I think, you got a chance to start anew, and I think, they need to go that way. So I like the pick. I like Banchero since his, this past year, excellent score. And I think for the Magic, they have good runs on first round picks. Can he be that next one to kind of get the franchise back on the upswing?
Yeah, I mean, I at this point, man, you know how I am. Like, we got Shaq. Shaq stayed for a few years, did what he did, then he left, got some rings, in Miami and LA. So it's the same thing that can possibly happen with him. But I think Paulo, we need to make sure that we build around him. And we move forward. And I think Paulo's going to be that guy. I'm definitely excited about that pick. I think we got 32. We traded our 35th pick to the Lakers later on. So we'll do the next pick.
Before we get going, I want you to meet Sophia real quick.
Look at her. Eyes open and everything.
Yeah. She's sleeping. I say, hey, D-Lock, how you doing?
So she must be woke right now. This must be her time where she's wide awake.
You know, for right now, yeah. She kind of sleepy, though. I had her on the swing for a little bit. Say,
Well, she look like she look happy with the Magic pick as well.
Yeah, look at she's smiling.
She definitely happy about that.
Oh yeah.
You want to see what the Lakers gonna do?
Man, I ain't gonna try and poison her mind right now with that.
She don't want to see the Lakers. You might see Russell.
Nah, I ain't gonna do that to her right now.
I know that. Redneck though.
Is there any pick that you see that's surprising so far?
No, not really. I mean, King and Murray went to the Kings, which I think that's more of a fit need than great player, best player overall.
Mm-hmm.
Jaden Ivey, I think that was a great fit for the Pistons because you got two guys in Ivy and Cunningham who are basically combo guards that can play off of each other. And then, you know, the Pacers going with Benedict Mathurin. You know, they're in rebuild mode. Excellent 2-guard, 6'6". Could grow in that position. They got a nice couple other guys, small forward, so I think they'd be straight. So, no real surprises so far. Now, Portland right here coming up, I think they'd be the real mystery pick. They trade for Jeremy Grant. You know, just yesterday. Are they trying to retool or are they trying to rebuild? Me personally, you know how I tell it. Go for the rebuild. You are what you are, you know, for the past few years. Go for the rebuild. But I think they're trying to get a retool here and kind of, you know, build around Dame and see what they can do.
I'm with you there. I think that they're trying to keep Dame there.
Yeah.
Like, hell, you had Yusuf Nurkic, you had Covington at one point, and you had McCollum. I don't know what the hell else you can do a Dame in Portland. There's nothing really else that you really can do. And, if you're going to do a rebuild, start from scratch.
Yeah.
That means, and that also means, hey, Dame is on trade block, right? You have to move him. If you're going to really start from scratch, and that's part of one of your pieces that you're going to start from scratch with. So you're going to see what they're going to do. To be honest, they're probably going to get another guard here. I'm thinking maybe a guard. Possibly being the fact that I see them kind of rebuilding, maybe not moving now, but they may sometime in the future. So I could possibly see them getting a guard at this pick.
Yeah. I think one thing they got to do, they got to bring back Anthony Simons.
Of course.
Bring him back to the fold. You got Grant, Lillard. Nurkic, I don't know. That's like a toss-up to me because, you know, he's been injured the past couple of years. Why spend money to bring him back? In which you probably go the cheap route and get somebody cheaper in to do the same job.
That's true.
So could they target somebody with that 7 pick? You know, that's an interesting question.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, if you're gonna rebuild, go all the way with it. I mean,
Yep.
at this point, why? We know what Dame is, right? But you gotta do right by this guy. I mean, clearly he's been a hell of a player for him. Um, I would think most players, and we're only person probably in question that wants this is Russ. He wants to win a championship at one point. They're not thinking about time. I think it would be more respectful for them to try to move him where he wants to go and get that opportunity to win a title. But if you're going to rebuild, that's a possibility that you have to do is moving Dame, which is a hard thing to do.
I want to go to town.
You're rebuilding. Like you said, you're few pieces. I like Yusuf Nurkic, but injuries does affect re-signing him to a long-term deal at some point. But the rebuild is probably the best thing for Portland. You go get Jerome Grant, hell. We know what kind of player he can be on the offense and especially the defense side.
Yeah.
I just feel like at this point, go ahead and trade Dame, even though I don't think but to rebuild, and it depends on who they pick here. They probably can be looking at that option a little bit later.
Yeah. Well, the pick is in for the Blazers.
And I hope a lot of fans are not on Twitter because Twitter is going to tell you every pick probably 2 or 3 minutes before it shows up on Twitter.
I know, which I kind of surprised these sports leagues hadn't put a kibosh to that. And I don't care how these reporters spin it.
Right.
Who really hoping Tyler is gonna stick with basketball?
They're coming out and they're airing it out. And remember, I think they talked about this last year about not like showing those picks before. Now,
ooh, okay. This is my question mark. The draft. You talking about a Shaden Sharp that could have played that second semester for Kentucky,
right?
But chose not to. So there's a lot of mystery with him. I mean, he got good size and whatnot, but I just think, if you're the Blazers, you're trying to retool a little bit with Dame, unless he may get traded elsewhere.
Right.
But I just don't understand this pick if you're trying to retool Brown Dame.
And that's why I said earlier, you're getting a guard like averaging 22 a game. This guy's gonna shoot the ball.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna shoot. So are you taking away from that? Like what? This draft is gonna be interesting because we might see a couple of surprising moves going with this, but you don't make this move unless you have other things that you're gonna do with the Dame Lillard.
Yeah.
So is there a possibility that he 6'5"? Yeah, he's about 6'5" too. What Dame is about 6'5" as well, about 6'4", somewhere around there.
About 6'3", 6'4", yeah.
Yeah, so you're looking at another guard, younger, and like you said, if you're gonna rebuild, okay, this is possibly who can possibly replace Dame.
Mm-hmm.
But this is going to be very interesting to see how this plays out because you got a guard who definitely loves to score and shoot, and to have him mesh with the Dame. Then you have a similar situation with him and CJ McCollum. And you see how that mapped out.
Yeah.
So, right now, Chauncey Billups has a few decisions that he got to make.
I mean, just look at him talk right now. He says confidence at the highest. It better be.
Of course.
It better.
And he kind of dude, come on now. This dude is shooting. He's averaging 22 at Kentucky. Think about what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Like Kentucky possesses a lot of players that love to, you know how Coach K is. So Calipari, I'm sorry. They have a good deep bench for him to average that. He's going to shoot the ball a lot if he gets to Portland. So now what do they do with Dame? Do a lot of teams call for Dame? Is that going to be part of a trade with different options? Like
Hey, if I'm the New York Knicks, I'll give up a couple first round picks.
Oh yeah, of course.
I give up this pick here. A couple contracts.
Right. But see, I told you, dude, like New York Knicks, I don't know what the hell. For me at this point, I don't know what the Knicks are gonna do. It seems like right now they put all their eggs in one basket to get Zion, and that did not work.
I think, and then also the draft lottery has changed that year too to get Zion as well.
But to be honest with you, possibly the way it's looking, they might have dodged a bullet at this point. It's hard to say that, but it's just like, what has he really done right now? Now, granted, does he look the same in New York as he does in New Orleans? Possibly no. But it's just what we're seeing is not anything where we're just like, wow. BI is clearly the best player on that team right now that's playing, that's on the court between him and McCollum. But, hopefully, I told you, I wouldn't even sign Zion for that long term. It'd be hard for me to give him that long ass deal, man. I mean, you got to, but that'll be a hard decision to make for the Pelicans.
Yep.
They're up now, and they're probably going to go start. Jose Alvarado played pretty decent, but they need some more depth in the guard position. They're fine at forwards and centers. They're fine.
The 2022 NBA Draft. The New Orleans Pelicans select Davidson Dentarius.
Okay.
Global Academy in Australia.
She must have just fucked the nigga who had the keys. And she married a white man. That's exactly what it is. Where's Dad?
So Dyson Daniels goes to the Pelicans here. Interesting. So this is like a long-term pick. You still got CJ in the fold for a couple years, along with a couple other guys, and you hope at least by year 3, this guy's in your starting lineup.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all. I think that's all this pick is. I think it's just a potential pick.
I mean, but to pick there so early, I probably would have preferred to trade down.
Yeah.
I think Dyson. I didn't know he was 6'7", so he's long. So
yeah,
there's no reason why Pelicans. They should have they got a lot of long players right now. It looks like, but for me, like you said, to say, okay, well, this is a years down the road prospect. I probably would have traded back if we were going to make it. But it's because the Pelicans are so young, right? They got damn near every piece that they need right now. They have a lot of pieces. So it's really up to Willie Green, I believe, to get them right, and make sure they can move forward. But they don't really. This is like an extra pick, but they could have, like I said, they could have traded this back or used this to possibly trade for another player. Like you said, I don't. If he's top 10, I don't really see him really making a move or a huge impact. This year coming up because of what they have already. Brandon Ingram is 23, 24 right now.
I want to hear him say shrimp on the ball, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're gonna be fine. I mean, I feel like I said, I think I want to grab this pick. I agree with you. was more so of a pick of, hey, let's just get a little bit more depth. That's something that we can build towards the future. But when you get in that range at like pick, I would say pick 6 or 15, that's where, especially in this draft, it's not that much deep. Like, so you have to make those decisions wisely. They could have traded back easily. Jalen Green had a hell of a season, in my opinion.
Dad, Robert, Mom, Bermuda, Dyson, congratulations on a job well done and the beginning of a new career.
Spurs are up next.
Back to you, Kevin.
Spurs are next. Man, I don't know which way they go.
I've been hearing some stuff about Dejounte Murray getting moved. I don't think they would move it.
I don't know. I seen a report like John Collins out of Atlanta, which I don't see the fit.
Yeah.
For the Spurs, yeah, getting John Collins down low, yeah, I think that would help out a lot of things. But for the Hawks side of things,
what would you get? What would you get if you're the Hawks in return?
I mean, Murray.
Oh yeah, if you get Murray, then hell yeah, you make that move. But Trae Young already there. Why would you trade for another guard? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Why would the Hawks go pick up another point guard when they got Trae Young there?
Unless they want Trae Young to play out the ball a little bit more.
Yeah, but would that work? Like,
I don't know. Maybe.
I just feel like the Spurs probably need more so of
a big.
That's what I'm thinking. Jakopoto would be solid, but they need some more.
That's a potential liability. I love his game. I love him, and I think that he's going to do fine on the NBA level. I'm just saying, with Zion Williamson coming back, with what we got for CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram, and these boys, I know you need defense, but I want a guy that's a playmaker with that passing ability to be able to be trustworthy from the perimeter. I got you. Player development of Willie Green, a team that was
Let me go. Let's go to the number 2 pick real quick. Chet Holmgren going to the Thunder. I think he's a good fit in my eyes. And I'll say this. I thought about this. Yeah, Holmgren got like a little skinny build. Okay, I think I lost him there in just a second.
Will he play? How long will he play? Right, staying on the floor for more than 50 games. Point guard who is a threat from the perimeter opens up a boatload of opportunities for you, especially if you're New Orleans. I think fully healthy, these guys could challenge in the West. That's how high I am on the job that David Griffin and Willie Green have done. You mentioned the G League, by the way. Daniel's third player drafted in the top 10 for the G League Ignite, by the way. Jalen Green and then John Kuminga going to the Warriors. Going to go next. Yes, we will see how that plays out. We can see the type 3 the G Leaguers taken in the first round.
As we wait for D-Lock to come back, let's see.
We will get to them, of course, because one of the conversations we've heard recently, especially with rumors of Dejounte Murray and the asking price for the Spurs, we will get to that story as it continues. Oh, and we're not going to sleep on Kyrie Irving and what we're hearing about him in his own house. When he does play, we'll get to that. And keep in mind that the Knicks are still 2 picks away. Steve A. Oh, my goodness.
All right.
I am back. We have a link.
What's that?
The link.
Let's see.
This is win for the Spurs.
Mark Williams could be a pick there from Duke.
Yeah.
I don't have my big board in front of me, but
I don't think they're going Jalen Duren though. It's a possibility, but I don't. They don't need any guards.
no.
You know, Pop though. Pop has. I told you that's one team on FanDuel that you do not pick players for. Because if they give me ass, well, Pop gonna pull them.
Yep.
And then if they whooping ass, he gonna have a rotational guy like for some reason DeJounte Murray letting Trey Jones getting all the run for some apparent reason. Like it's just it's a different kind of thing over there. So
Okay. They go Ford. Jeremy Sohan, 4 from Baylor, 6'8", 6'9", versatile guy, paid 3 or 4. So, I mean, they don't go guard, but, they go a tweener at the number 9 pick. So, they don't go guard like you said. What you think about this pick right here? I think
being yourself is always good enough.
I like to call myself a citizen of the world. My mom's Polish, my dad's American. I was born in Oklahoma in the middle of nowhere. I left when I was 2.
Okay.
England most of my life.
I was getting D-Law back in the stream. Let's see.
I definitely miss a lot of food from back home. Sometimes the Polish food I miss is like pierogies, like dumplings.
Okay.
And then like a full English breakfast I haven't had in ages.
so to go 6'10", 230. We go look at the Spurs roster really quick.
What was that again? I'm sorry.
I'm about to go look at the Spurs roster.
Let's see.
Sohan is joined by his mom, Annetta. Sohan, you walked over and said, "This is crazy."
So right now,
Is it crazy? I'm not gonna lie.
well, let me look at the depth chart really. But you got Jacopo, Josh Primo has started, and Lonnie Walker doesn't have. Kendall Johnson is the one that they're probably going to bump him up to the small 4 position.
Yeah.
Move German to him to the 4. This isn't bad. They must have signed Romeo Langford.
Yeah.
Zach Collins was a bad sign. Hell, I didn't even see him that much this year at all.
I've seen him just enough. He's a very high energy guy. I think he's got a lot of potential, a lot of things to work on. Can play defense. I think that's one of Pop's staples. I think it'd be too early for him to start coming in out the gate.
Right.
Because they still got McDermott in the fold. Keldon Johnson is a very a Popovich favorite. You got Kokak in the fold. Jacob Potel, looking down the roster. So he'll get his time probably in that second unit starting off, and then we'll see how down the line if he comes along, because you can get in Pop's doghouse early and see how things shake out for him.
Yeah, I mean for me, now you're in the middle of those rounds, so some of these guys that you're getting, you want them to come in and start, but they have to play a valid part for your team. Pop is a Hall of Famer, so to go grab him, he's gonna use him. But as we see with a lot of players, we've seen with Kawhi Leonard, we didn't get a chance to see with Tim Duncan, but who else am I missing that left? Kawhi Leonard, somebody else just recently left San Antonio, but they go to these different teams and they're a totally different player. You see what they can be, their highest potential. So for me, I think this is a great pick. But I think that he's going to fit into that Pop system. And in that pop system, we're going to see so much. But again, like I said before, uh, DeJounte Murray looks insanely great with the Spurs. Now, he's the guy that's shooting the ball like crazy. I believe he tore his ACL was it the year before. So for me, now you're in a situation where you're going to tag him with a Kendall Johnson, a Jakob Poeltl who's playing outstanding, to be honest, ever since he's been over there. Primo has looked pretty good. Trey Mann does when he gets. I'm sorry, not Trey Mann. Trey Jones. Once he gets a chance, he gets in there. So I think this is a good pick. It's just now being in that pop system, you're not asked to do entirely too much. That's what I was missing. DeMar DeRozan. DeMar DeRozan looked, decent in San Antonio, and now he's in Chicago looking like a damn MVP. So now we're looking at a situation where I think that we have a pretty solid piece in San Antonio. Washington is up, and for me, I think that to be honest, I just want Porzingis to stay healthy, man. Like that's just my, you know what I'm saying? Like that's just my only wish. If I had any wish, that's what it would be. Is for him to be healthy. I feel like him, Bradley Beal, there would be a good combination. Kyle Kuzma, who's a hell of a piece, clearly now that he's left LA, he looks pretty decent. Ish Smith didn't play pretty bad under them, I believe. He didn't play too bad, but they got a couple decent pieces, and then they're in the East. You know what I'm saying? So they should be able to make a solid move. Hopefully, this will make a good impact.
I think for the Wizards, God, they don't suck enough to get to like a top 5 pick, and they ain't too good to make the playoffs to get like a deep pick. And they drafted Johnny Davis, 2 guard from Wisconsin. So solid pick. Johnny Davis, for y'all that don't watch college basketball, very great scorer, great shooter, 6'5", 6'6", on the wing. If he would have stayed healthy, because he has some ankle issues that happened during the season, he could have been running for the Player of the Year. That's how good and how much scoring he brought to the table for Wisconsin.
Right.
Yeah, I think if he was healthy throughout the year, I think Wisconsin could have had more deeper run in the tournament. But I like this pick. He averaged about 20 points last year, 8 rebounds, so he can rebound. I think this is like a good assurance just in case Bill moves on. And this guy's very explosive, a little bit taller than Bill as well. And I think he could develop to that score that Bill, wound up being. So I like this pick for Wizards. Not taking a high risk pick like they have been doing the past few years.
Every year at this point.
So good pick for them. And we'll see, like you mentioned, if they keep Bill, everybody's got to be healthy. Porzingis got to be healthy. Bill's got to be healthy. Hopefully Johnny Davis come in, put the ankle issues behind him. Daniel Gafford, who they gave big money to not too long ago, him staying healthy. So, all those guys stay healthy, I think they'd be straight.
So what do you think they do with – do you think this means that Bradley Beal is for sure gone, or do you think that there's a possibility that he comes back and kind of mentors this guy? Or is this just like you said, hey, we're just preparing for if Bradley Beal does leave?
It depends on Bradley. If he said he wanted to go a long time ago, then I think it could have been happening.
Right.
But, since he's wanting to stay there, there's a big chance that he can make next contract, if he opts in, get an extension, about like $255 million. That's hard to sneeze up.
Right.
But, it depends on him. And there's nothing wrong saying where you're at and making your money. Nothing wrong with that. We're not saying that, ladies and gentlemen, but, when you're talking about rings and, best players of their generation or the decade, that ring count, the playoff appearances, they start creeping up on them and the arguments. If you're trying to compare him to like a Klay Thompson, well, Klay Thompson got 4 rings and multiple playoff appearances.
Right.
If you're trying to compare him to, trying to think, like a Paul George or something like that, multiple playoff appearances, on that. So it all depends. It depends on Bill what he wants to do. If he wants to win, and nobody gonna give him a hard time. All you can do in Washington.
Yeah. But my thing is, I understand the dedication. I had a friend tell me, I said, why would you stay so long? He said, well, Giannis stayed and Giannis won a championship. Granted, but we're talking about Giannis, right? We're talking about 2-time MVP. He's making that type of impact. I don't think that Bradley Beal is making that kind of impact with the Wizards. So for me, he has decisions to make. Bradley Beal has to be about maybe 29, maybe 30.
Yeah.
So he's around that age where he's not necessarily peaking just yet, or his career is going to go down. I just feel like at this point, you have to make a tough decision. So it's going to be kind of interesting. And now we got the Knicks up, and hell, it's just like, the Knicks come up.
And they had Spike Lee behind on there on the TV.
With that blue suit on, that orange suit he had on at that game.
Who?
I don't want to say anything bad about the kid, but the Knicks
No.
give me
It's just he got size to him.
yes. Indeed.
God.
Looks young, too. Look very young.
Yeah.
About 19, 20. Could this be something similar?
Oh, well, hold on. They said that trade might be going. So this pick may be going to the OKC Thunder, according to Woj.
Okay.
So they might be swapping picks and I don't know, maybe another pick be involved. Just look at the highlights right now of this kid. He's long, 6'10", he can run the floor. Kind of fits well in this modern game. But if he's going to OKC, they drafted like a couple guys. The guy last year from I think from Serbia, who's kind of similar. Was it Serbia or? Let me look that up real quick.
He's going to OKC and they have Chet. They're picking again.
So if he's going to OKC, then I like this pick for OKC. Because OKC ain't trying to win no championships down the road, so you can.
Yeah.
So you throw him in there with Chet Holmgren, Josh Giddey, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Trying to look up the guy they had.
LaQuince Dort.
Yeah. Oh, I love him, LaQuince Dort.
But does this where do you fit him in? Do you trade him? Like, does he? They got a good roster too now. Their roster isn't that bad. They got a couple pieces. Isaiah Roby, he might be a free agent.
Yeah. It was the Alexi Popuzicki. Yeah, that's the dude they drafted last year. No, back in 2020.
Right.
7 foot, 190. You know, I think he's from Serbia. Yeah. So drafted that guy. Then last year you drafted Giddy. So
Bailey is there.
yeah.
Jeremiah Earl Robinson, who plays pretty decent, and Aaron Wiggins had a pretty solid season later on. He played
Yeah.
So for me, I got to see what they're doing. They're gonna be long because SGA is what, probably 6'7".
Yeah.
He's about 6'7". He's running at the one. Josh Giddey's probably around 6'5", 6'7". Dort is probably their shortest starter right now. They're gonna have to figure out their rotation. But they have so many picks, and it looks like they're picking again, unless it's just for the.
But I think this at one point, D-Lock, kind of like the Boston Celtics, you can't sit on all these picks forever. And with the massive young kids you drafting, you better hope they develop something, and then down the road you can trade for a veteran piece.
Right. So, but you remember what I was speaking? They got so many picks. Hell, whenever Bronny come out, they finna send all them picks for Bron and get Bronny together. But right now, what they're doing, they're trying to build something down the road, which makes sense. But so many damn picks, man. They got to pick 30 later on, and this pick coming up. So they're not done. They're far from done.
Yep. So the pick is in for the Thunder. Proposed trade going to the New York Knicks. So a pick swap, and wherever else that may be involved. I haven't seen anything from Woj or Shams or anybody else. I'm trying to look right now. I'm not seeing anything yet.
I think Check is going to be pretty good. I just feel like OKC might be. Again, these franchises that are at the top 5 for the most part, except the Warriors. Last year, they don't really buy into building around their players. I think that's a problem that we see with the Knicks over and over and over. You have to build around what you have. So, OKC, hopefully they are willing to build around the players that they're drafting. Check, a huge comparison to Kristaps Porzingis and Kevin Durant, obviously. But they got to build around this kid and actually want to try to win with him. Not wait after 2 or 3 years. Oh, well, hell, let's move on and go to somebody else. That's not going to work.
And it's kind of looking at some news because I was busy at work all day, man. I guess the Lakers acquired Orlando's 35th pick for a future second-round pick in cash.
Yes.
So the Lakers get in the early part of the second round. So it'll be real interesting to see who they target there.
Coming up, right.
When that time comes.
Do you think there's any possible way that Russ is moved before the night is over?
Man, I don't see it tonight. Because I think they're watching a Kyrie situation right now.
Right.
And whatever happens to the Kyrie situation, I think that's when the dominoes will fall. And the pick is in. Okay. Jalen Williams, guard for Santa Clara. Santa Clara had a very, very great year this past year. And Williams one of the guys helped lead the charge. So this is the proposed trade going to the Knicks. So Williams maybe going to the Knicks. Big guard, about 6'5", 6'6". So potentially going to the Knicks. We just got to see all the details, how the trade works out. So back to Russ, though. I don't see Russ move tonight. I don't.
Right.
I think there's a lot of things that got to be smoothed out before he gets traded. And it got to find and pick the right trade, too. That's the thing, too. Like I told you, we discussed on the show past couple weeks. If you do the Indiana trade, you got Malcolm Brogdon, Buddy Hield. Well, Malcolm Brogdon, dude has really had played a full season yet. At best, he played 70 games at one point. But other than that, everything else has been under 60 games. And he hasn't been stay healthy.
Right.
And I brought that up last show. Like, you are doing that with Anthony Davis. You don't need that with another guy you want to be your star player, your lead guard. You can't have that. One thing you can't take away from Russell Westbrook is his availability and readiness to play. You can't take that away from him.
Yeah.
You know, and you look at the Hornets sides. It's unfortunate that Gordon Hayward had that injury when he was playing in Boston. And he's going to have leg issues for the rest of his life. But I'm not risking giving up a future first-round pick to get him and wherever combination between Kelly Oubre or Terry Rozier or whatever. I can't. Now, like I told you, I'm not giving up no future first-round pick in both of those scenarios. I can't.
Right.
You train for two injury-prone players. And like I told you, 5 years down the line, LeBron might not be there in the franchise. Anthony Davis, God knows what his status will be by then. Russ be long gone. You know, no big contracts or you got down the line. Luol Deng's finally off your books. By that time, you could probably start afresh and anew. Or, like I told you, if you get the right free agency class, like a Jason Tatum, whose contract extension kicks in this upcoming season, you know, Trey Young, etc. Maybe you can build another super team. Maybe. But, and I guess OKC is hanging on to this pick with Jalen Williams. So no trade, I believe. So very interesting.
Carrie Richardson, she's got some work to do.
That's very interesting to see how that's going to play out.
Yeah.
So you make that pick, and now you wanted to make that trade, but that didn't, proposed, but didn't get sent. Now, we are, for the most part, when we see proposed trades, they actually go through. This is one of the very few times you don't see them go through, in my opinion.
Yep.
So now with this situation, we talk about Russ. Hell, Russ has been a big name talked about with Michael Jordan and Charlotte Hornets. And now Charlotte is on the draft, on the clock. Hell, they need a big time. That's something they need. Now, the thing about this too, you have yet seen free agency. So there's a lot of pieces that I was looking at the free agent class yesterday. There's a lot of good guys that's out there in free agency right now. So that's going to impact how they draft, right?
Yep.
It's a lot of hell of a center, a lot of centers. I think Montrezl Harrell was there, but now he's a free agent right now. Plumlee, he would play like 2 minutes the first quarter, and they would just take him out.
Yep.
For me, I think they go center. I talked about Dylan Durden earlier from Memphis. I think he might be a big thing to look at. You brought up Mark Williams for Duke. That's another person that they can be looking at. They need to build around LaMelo. Clearly, he's another I'm about to take all the damn shots type player, which isn't bad because he's a huge impact. But also, he's a good facilitator. So they need to get some guys around him. I think Miles Bridges is going to be a good piece for them. They may look to move Terry Rozier. The hell, they need to get a center here. You know what I'm saying? Gordon Hayward, that whole situation may impact if they got the forward as well. I think that they're going to look towards the big position before they draft a forward to replace Gordon Hayward or get some of that time that Gordon Hayward is getting.
I mean, one player I'm looking at, Oche Abaji from Kansas. I'm looking at him potentially as that forward spot because PJ Washington, he's a free agent. Like you mentioned about Gordon Hayward. God, his health ain't the best. You know, I think they're okay at guards unless they make the move for Russ. And let's see, they're about to go pick right now. You were right.
Right.
You were right.
Well, it's just because you look at how Plumlee played last year. Like,
yeah.
He was out of the game, before the game can even really get started. So, and I mentioned I've been using. We both played FanDuel, but I think that's another thing that's giving me a lot of like depth in mind and stuff about basketball is playing FanDuel. Dude, centers and power forwards kill Charlotte. I'm talking about bad. Like Robert Covington, I guess when he was in Portland, just had a monster game against him. I remember one time. So Mason Plumlee just going there. Nick Richardson's not really doing too much for them. They're good at the guard position. LaMelo, Cody Martin, pretty solid. Kelly Oubre, I think, is a hell of a piece once he gets the minutes. Isaiah Thomas, he spoke glowly about LaMelo, but they need some bigs. Excuse me, and that's what that's what they need. So for me, I think that was a great pickup for them at that spot that they were in.
If they were going big, I think Jalen Duren, Mark Williams from Duke, I think they're probably in that camp. With Michael at the helm, did he want to pick a Duke guy?
Now, what do the Cavs do here? This is a very interesting pick because you know what? I see they have to go forward. There's no way in hell they don't go forward.
Well, some breaking news. Jalen Duren is getting traded. Getting traded to the Pistons.
For?
They didn't say yet, but it's kind of interesting though, man. It's like they already got Isaiah Stewart.
That's what I thought about.
You already got Isaiah Stewart in the fold.
Yep.
Now I think he's not as athletic as Duren, but it's kind of interesting that they picked up with Duren the fold. So,
what are they doing? I don't know what Michael Jordan is doing. This is the only time where Michael Jordan is making decisions and we just don't know what the hell he's doing and we're not confident. We watch his games, confident in him having that last shot, free throws and all that good stuff. But some decisions that he's made, leaves you kind of curious.
Yep.
Because I damn sure was expecting, you draft the center. That was going to be a huge piece there, but I guess not.
Monica, thank you so much. By the way, you chose Memphis over Kentucky.
But for what? That's the interesting thing.
Yeah.
Let me tell you right now, I think they need to take away Adrian Woj's phone while he's at the draft because he's tweeting the picks before they come out.
Yeah, and I like reacting when the pick comes in. I don't like. I ain't been on Twitter too much, man. I haven't been on Twitter too much.
Well, I go to try to check and see who Mason Plumlee, or I'm sorry, not Mason, but Jalen Darden is getting traded for, and I see Woj's picks is his tweets are coming up. So, but I think that for them to trade him, it has to be for something in return. Maybe Isaiah Stewart, possibly, but I don't think they would do that, being that what Detroit is trying to build over there. I love Karis LeVert in Cleveland. I think he takes over. Darius Garland is solid piece. Jared Allen is going to be Jared Allen. Evan Mobley was a hell of a piece as well. So I think they go for it for sure. In my eyes, it would be wise for them to go forward. That's what they need because, if I'm not mistaken, Isaac Carl didn't do too much for them last year.
What's that again? I'm sorry.
Isaac Carl didn't do too much for them last year.
He did all right. It's just, I think he was just right in line where he was at.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. The potential of moving up. Lamar Stevens, not too much of a fan. But I think they need depth at that position. You got marketing and Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. You don't need any more power forwards or centers in that position. Karis LeVert, Darius Garland, that's hell of pieces, great pieces. I believe Rondo was back, so
Yeah,
Cleveland Cavaliers select Ochai Agbaji
I-
from the University of Kansas.
good pick. They need another guard.
Oh, okay. It's a little different. I wasn't expecting.
Okay. I like the pick. I like it.
Now not Darius Garland. Colin Sexton is a free agent, right?
Yes, restricted free agent.
Okay. Oh, he's definitely gonna play a huge part. Then he's gonna play. Wow.
That summer, it was a lot. Bill had told me that Davis just
So
so it was just an opportunity.
let me ask you this about the Cavs. Do they keep Sexton around?
I don't think so. To be honest with you, I think this pick solidifies they don't bring him back, especially if you get offered a crazy amount of money, which I believe.
That'd be kind of crazy to do.
Yeah, but it's that position. You know how the guard position is. You need a couple rotational guys to come in there. So I just looked up Tony Snell contract yesterday. That dude got paid when he signed with Milwaukee. He got 4 year, $46 million back in 2017.
Yeah.
Once he signed that,
Yeah.
so they're giving out contracts. So for me, I just feel like I think there's going to be a team that's going to offer Sexton the money that Cleveland is not willing to offer. Is what I'm saying. Not anything crazy, just something they're not willing to give Colin Sexton, and that's gonna, now you got a guy who can fill that role. And now it's just like, why would I pay Colin Sexton that type of money? Now they should bring him back. And I feel like that team that they have is pretty good. They're young. They can do a lot, but now it's about they're gonna have. I think
They're going to have to pay Jared Allen. Evan Mobley is going to have to get his money. Darius Garland Again, I felt like they should go get another small forward for that rotational part, but I mean, we'll see. At the end of the day, they have to make. Dude, Colin Sexton isn't a bad player, man. Like I definitely would keep him if they had the opportunity, but it doesn't seem like it. It doesn't seem like they're gonna do that. Especially with this pick, there's no way that they bring him back.
No, and I don't see him giving him the max deal while you got Jared Allen on a big deal. You gave Marketing a decent side contract. Garland, I think his extension will be coming in soon. You know, what you do? What are you gonna do with Okoro? That's another question.
Right.
And plus you got Caris LeVert in his deal, so that's a lot of money right there to be tied up to. In which the Cavs can look at and say, "Hey, we like Colin, but they kind of did pretty well while he was out." So, does he go chase money elsewhere? Who knows? The Blazers will have some cap money. Pistons got some cap. After trade with Jeremiah Grant. So there'll be some spots for Sexton to go to. Where, I don't know.
I mean, like I said, it's going to be kind of interesting to see how this maps out. You're looking at a situation where, for one, you're looking at a Lakers team that probably is wanting to guard bad, especially what Russ did last year.
Yep.
So he's going to have places to fall. But you look at the free agencies. There's a lot of pieces out there, but Colin Sexton is like 25, maybe 24.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got you a young piece that you can kind of build around. But I feel like this pick that the Cavs did, there's no way in hell they bring him back on any big money. And now, teams know that somebody's gonna offer him some money that they cannot compete with, or they refuse to compete with. So, but it just seemed like they just drafted him, man. Like it just seemed like they just drafted him.
Mm-hmm. One too long ago, man. One too long ago.
Nope. So now that he's about to be, look like the Hornets pick is in now. The way that these teams are picking, they're using certain models, right? You got some teams that use the Giannis model or the Milwaukee model. Build around a big time player and got some that build around shooters. There he is.
Yep.
So they pick both.
Pick both and traded one.
And trade one. But that's the kind of stuff that just make you think like Michael Jordan, what the hell are you thinking? Like it gets you kind of confused. Like what? Like
and now the celebration for Mark Williams, 7 feet tall. It's the culmination.
That's the kind of stuff that people like. Okay, Michael Jordan, you could have did that. Picks, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are you doing?
My dad's a gastroenterologist, and I'm also retired next.
Yeah,
I have 2 sisters, Victoria and Elizabeth.
I don't know, man. It's like
She plays in the WNBA.
I don't know what him and his team thought process is at times. You think he would be like a better evaluator of talent. And as I read it from Shams right now, Kemba Walker is getting traded to Detroit.
Ooh. Let me look at it. Okay. Kemba Walker to the Detroit Pistons.
So, I mean, if he's healthy, you can probably bring Jaden Ivey along slowly, and then have Kimber start along with Kate Cunningham. Just kind of had that veteran presence. And I keep, it kind of just hit me. They still got Killian Hayes in the fold,
right?
Who I thought he'd be further along than he is, but he's really kind of disappointed me so far in his career.
Is Diallo still there?
Huh?
Diallo. Armando Diallo.
I think so, yeah.
Well, that's another person who I think highly of. Number to the Pistons. So yeah, I guess that veteran, dude, they passing Kemba Walker around. He can't stay nowhere right now.
Yep.
He gets some mix and play for a little bit, then they sit his ass. So I mean, at this point, I thought they were gonna let Cade Cunningham just take over. Right? That was my mindset, especially with trading Jeremy Grant. But now it's going to be kind of interesting to see how they plan this out. Wow.
Very interesting. Let's see.
Corey Joseph is there too, right?
I think so. But I think he's a free agent because I looked that up the other day. It's like, who's a...
Okay.
And I was just kind of reading things on Twitter real quick. I forgot about this. The Rockets own every Nets first round pick / right to their pick until 2027. So, with Katie and Kyrie's situation, Ben Simmons, a question mark. God, the Nets are kind of like stuck in a hole right now.
Oh yeah, so but that's why I said when that whole listen, when the Warriors won a championship, in my mind, I'm like, ain't no way in hell KD lets Kyrie walk out the door. There's just for me, I don't see that, especially what they got going on. So I still see that. And obviously, people want to see Kyrie with the Lakers. I would love to see that, but I don't think that happens just because of so much they will possibly have to give up in the situation that, like you said, Brooklyn would be in. But hell, at this point, like if you seriously, you let Kyrie walk, KD's probably going to walk too. Hawks.
Okay.
So they went.
Okay.
They need to get there's my remote. They isn't a bad pick. That is the position that probably was most inconsistent for them.
Yeah.
Last year.
I agree.
Yeah, DeAndre Hunter didn't play like we thought he could be. Bogdanovich, we already know how inconsistent he is. I feel like Milwaukee got away with. They really won that by not signing him to that deal that Atlanta signed him to.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't seen too much of the consistency from him. In fact, I think that hurt the reason why this season. Remember, 2 years ago they played against Philly. Right? I believe they beat Philly in the playoffs.
Yep.
So we were having high expectations for them, but Bogdanovich looks inconsistent. DeAndre Hunter doesn't look the same. Gallinari just looks like he's part-time. So, another piece they got, this could lead into them trading John Collins also.
Yeah. So to recap the Kemba Walker trade, the Knicks acquired Jalen Duren. So Jalen Duren goes for the Pistons to the Knicks.
Okay.
So for the Knicks, you get a nice young big, which with Mitchell Robinson's free agency up the air, it looks like a sign that Mitchell Robinson may not be brought back.
Nah, there's no way.
So
Also hearing that he wants to be in LA. I'm not sure. That's what I've heard it was with the Clippers though. That's what I'm hearing.
but God, neither one of the LA teams got money like that.
Yeah. He's what, 25, 24? Like somebody gonna have to pay him some type of money. I have to look. You know what? While we talk about this, I'm gonna look and see who has the most cap space. Like for these NBA teams, because these players got to go somewhere, right? The Knicks look like they're up there. Spurs up there. Pistons are up there. Rockets. So another team that probably can play a huge part in picking up some pieces is Memphis. Steven Adams probably. I didn't like too much of what he did. He only had one good game. Now we talked about it. He had that decent game against Golden State. Those are the few. Him and Jaren Jackson. They win those games and they go back to trying to play guard for guard and shot for shot with Golden State. Lose the series. So maybe they look into getting a center and picking up a few pieces, but they got some money. Looks like Charlotte has a little bit of money as well. So the Lakers are damn near at the bottom.
Yeah, Lakers at the bottom. I was still in the camp of keeping Russ because you get that relief. And then you only sign like Horton Tucker for like 3 years, so that money be gone. LeBron, his status up the air. So
right.
I mean, he ain't really hurting.
Nah. Well, the thing about it is he's not hurting. It's just the thing about LeBron is you only got so long with him.
Yeah.
So you know that within the next, I would say, what is he right now, 40? He's probably going to be gone in the next 2 years. So you're probably going to get the best out of him right now, next couple of years, and he's done. So you have to be able to win now with him. And the bad part about that is you have to look to moving forward without him. So that's why it's hard to give up an Anthony Davis in a trade, because you got to look at, okay, well, post LeBron, I need something to move forward, and it's the Lakers. So LeBron was not the issue. His play is just the fact that, dude, you're only going to get like 2 or 3 years of him.
Yeah.
So why, for me, you can keep Russ, but you really, I don't know if Russ can continuously play like that and they win a championship.
And that's going to be the story of the summer. And with Houston got that pick in, Houston's second first-round pick. They got Jarabi Smith to slide to them. I'm thinking about this roster. They traded away Christian Wood. They got Jalen Green. They got Kevin Porter. The main big men, Doran and Williams, are gone. I'm trying to look. I'm trying to look, D-Lock. Who could they target?
Who? Rockets?
Yeah, I'm looking.
They probably can go at another forward. At this point, actually, they probably can go at another center.
There's Walker Kessler, center for Auburn. That's probably a possibility. Jalen Williams from Arkansas. And there are a possibility right there. You know, what you said about Ford. I'm looking. Christian Braun from Kansas. Tari Eason for LSU. Caleb Houston from Michigan. A guy that, you know, a lot of potential, but kind of slid here. Tari Eason.
Yeah.
Like you called it, number 4.
Well, that means that Jason Tate ain't gonna have to play so much damn 3 and 4 like he did last year.
Yeah.
Because they had him playing. I mean, you can see this dude playing the 3 and the 4. Hell, I think they had Eric Gordon playing the 3 at one point.
Yeah.
So they're loading up at the position to where they need the depth. This is another team like OKC that we don't see win the championship right now. So they're kind of building towards the future. Now I ain't gonna lie, I do feel like Houston could possibly want to be one of them teams that's picking at the top of the lottery next year again. But they got a lot of decent pieces over there right now, young pieces, to be honest with you. Come on, man. Kevin Porter, Jalen Green, Alfred Sengun. We got Jabari Smith today. Like you, sorry, Easton. You got you some pieces.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that you're gonna go 75 and you're not gonna win no 70 games, but you got you a group that you can build forward with. And we just seen the Golden State Warriors win the championship, their 4th championship. And the core that they got is the same core they've had that they built through the draft.
Mm-hmm.
So clearly, I mean, if you ask us this when Steph Curry got drafted, did we see the Warriors win the championship? Hell no, we didn't. So it's the same thing with Houston. Do we see it win the championship? Hell no. But they got the pieces to where they can move forward and compete to be in the playoffs, there alone possibly getting further in the playoffs. But regardless, they have something that they can build with. We don't need necessarily a huge name. Now, it threw me off crazy that they traded Christian Wood. You know, I was like, what the hell are they doing? But, you know, with how Sengun played, you're probably going to move forward with him.
Mm-hmm.
You're top 3 picks, so you're going to get whether Chet, Paulo, or Jabari, which they got, you know, the number 1 expected or projected pick. They're solid, man. You got Jalen Green, Kevin Porter, who you can play damn near anywhere. You got some pieces, man. Like, just make it work at this point. This is what culture comes in at.
You know, you talk about Tari Easton, you know, that LSU team last year just kind of fell below expectations. And then, you know, he had the Will Wade situation going on.
Yep.
At that. And then he finally got the axe. And, you know, LSU are like in straight rebuild mode. So for him to, you know, to keep that consistency up and kind of make it, you know, a little past the lottery is a good sign.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they should be at this point. They should be fine. It's just now they're not expected to win the NBA championship in the next 2 years, right? We're not talking about he's going to come in and be the MVP of the damn league, and they're going to win. They're going to beat the Heat out of 4 out of 7 or something like that. That's not happening right now. You know, in the NBA Finals. Right now, they're building something, you know, and it's going to take some time, but that's what they're doing. And that means that these pieces that they're putting together needs to be the group that they have moving forward. But again, to be able to do that, think about, was Jerry West was at Golden State, correct?
Yeah. No. Well, hold on. Yeah.
Was it Jerry West that was with that group?
With
Or
the
am I
Durant group?
mistaken for somebody else?
I think he was there the year before Durant got there, but I think he's the one that sealed the deal.
He's
Get Durant involved.
So we're talking about a player that, or I'm sorry, not a player, but a coach and a person in the front office that made sure that the group they had meshed together, right? This team built together. They did things together. You need that in the front office so they can be a group together. You know, a lot of people say they talk about the Lakers when they won a championship at Magic Johnson about how they had all them Hall of Famers. Well, hell, they all were together to do that. The Boston Celtics, same thing. The Chicago Bulls, same thing. Now the Golden State Warriors. This group is together. More than likely, we talked about it. Draymond possibly being the one out of all of them that shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, but may possibly go because of what he's done with them. I say it to say that Houston has a team that they can build with. They just have to move forward with. And that means that the group that you have, you got to start them now and move forward with it. And again, it goes back to the front office, man. That's just how it goes. You got your pieces. Now make that work. Jason Tate ain't that old either. Jason Tate probably like 23, 22.
Yeah.
You got him, Gwen, Jalen Green, Kevin Porter, Josh Christopher is a hell of a player off the bench.
Mm-hmm.
Who else? I mean, you just signed traded for Trey Burke, which I think if he gets some minutes, he can do something. You just went and got Jabril Smith and Tyron Eason. Like, what else do you need?
Yeah.
Honestly, you're not. LeBron is not in every draft.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just cut that. You know what I'm saying? Every team feel like they're gonna get LeBron is not at every team in every draft. Have your pieces and build with them.
And the Bulls on the clock right now. And Bulls go Dalen Terry, guard for Arizona. So I think with this pick for the Bulls, I think if some of the big men had failed, I think they would scoop them up.
Right.
But I think you need some. They need some wing depth also because injuries took a hit for them.
Big time. Caruso and Lonzo, that hurt.
Yeah, and then Levine, he missed some games as well. So, you know, guy known for his defense, you know, averaged about 8 points. You know, almost in 4 assists also. So, we'll see how he fits along with the Bulls. If I was him, I probably would have reached for a big man instead for another wing player.
Yeah. Don't forget now, you still got Kobe White, who we talked about last year. We thought was going to be on the trade. You know, when they picked Lonzo and Caruso, we thought, well, damn, what the hell you finna do with Kobe White? Because before they had Lonzo and Caruso, Kobe White looked like the next, like, decent player to start for them. But it's just like they, pick up a Caruso with very solid defense. Lonzo, they went on the defensive side. They went and picked up some players that can affect the defensive side. And then now Kobe White minutes has probably went down big time. Now you go pick up another guard. You're for that guard. But you look, like you said, the bigs, Tristan Thompson and Tony Bradley. So I'm with you there. Like, I probably would have went, hell, they got Javonte Green playing before, man. So you're reaching, you know what I'm saying? You're basically pulling your guards to play the forward position.
Yeah.
So that definitely is gonna hurt.
Minnesota's on the clock. A team that seems like they turned the corner with Anthony Edwards leading the helm.
Yep.
D'Angelo Russell is on the trade block from what I read. What direction they go with this pick?
They have to go guard. They have to. I mean, at this point, if you're considering moving Russell, who I really like, I would love for the Magic to get him, but we're full at guard. But
if you're considering moving Russell, Anthony Harris is going to be a 3, possibly your 2. Malik Beasley is not consistent enough for me to consider as a start. Beverly, come on, you know how Beverly is. Beverly give you 2,000 the first 4 minutes, and now he's out until the third quarter. So you have to go guard. At this point, you have to. Jordan McLaughlin is pretty solid, but not anybody that I can trust like that. Jalen Noel in the same boat. You're loaded at the bigs, to be honest. Jaden McDaniels is a solid piece. Jared Vanderbilt, Carlton Towns, as we know, and Naj Reed.
Yeah.
Hell, even Nathan Knight, if you look at when he gets the minutes, he can be somebody that be an impact as well. So they don't need any bigs. They're fine. Torian Prince is there. They're good when it comes to 3 down. They need to go get a guard. That is what they need to go grab. And I believe, to be honest, if they do grab a guard here, I think D'Angelo Russell's move within the next week.
And they on the
Jake Arabia from Wake Forest University.
all right, they go forward with Jake Laravia. And this is a proposed trade to the Grizzlies. So
Okay, so right. And that's the thing that we see different than any other draft is a team can pick a player for another team. Right? They may not need that person, but they're trying to do that to get the other team to say, hey, we got this player you possibly can use him, which I'm pretty sure Memphis needs a forward. Now they have one there, so now they're trying to see what Memphis, like now it's a trade, it's an up in the air type thing. They didn't pick for themselves, they picked for another team. So that's why I said to me, I already had my eyes open, like, why the hell are you picking a forward knowing you need a guard?
Should do whatever you want. I'll probably say teleportation, just to make life easier.
if the trade goes through to Memphis, they got a lot of young guys in that forward spot. Do you see him kind of making an impact this first year?
You saying for if he goes to Memphis?
Yeah, because you got Zaire Williams there.
Right.
You got the last year for Stanford. Played pretty well and started coming to his own later in the season.
I don't trust Dylan Brooks, man. Honestly, I just don't trust Dylan Brooks. He's a pretty decent
started.
Say it again.
Don't get me started on that dude.
Exactly. So I don't trust that. I don't trust Dylan Brooks. That's just me. But I think that Kyle Anderson, you know what Kyle Anderson is. I think he might be a restricted free agent if I'm not mistaken. Zaire Williams is not ready yet. I think he's gonna battle with those minutes. John Concord is just one of the guys, the role player, so he could make an impact if he gets to Memphis. But the fact is, dude, Dylan Brooks is Dylan Brooks. Listen, I know I keep referring to FanDuel, but do not pick that man if he over 4K because he will literally give you -2 points and cost you to win any type of money, and that'll be what he do. For me, I probably would. I would say I think that he's gonna make an impact there. I think Dylan Brooks might be a better guard, maybe a 2 guard, better than a small forward for them. But their forward position is definitely needed. That trade would probably help them out a lot.
Yeah, Dylan Brooks, I was like, God, dog, dude, you killing me. Especially in those games against the Warriors, it's like, damn, dude, you ain't that shooter. Like, you ain't that shooter.
Yeah.
I was like, and saw him out that game, I think was a game 4. Could have won that game. You know, you can't make it one big in game 5, but, you know, game 6 is like, ugh. That
Yeah.
killed me.
My thing is, I just feel like you got to be more than just defensive impact. You got to do more, right? We appreciate what Draymond does on the defensive side, but there's times where he do have maybe 10 points, and about 6 or 7 assists. You know what I'm saying? 7 to 8 rebounds from time to time. We don't really see that much from Dylan Brooks. So I think that being a defender is great, but a little impact on the offensive side would play a huge part. That we definitely would appreciate, but it's definitely different. He could possibly be moved as well. So it looks like the Spurs are back on the clock now. And they probably could go back and come back and go guard if they wanted to. I don't
Yeah.
see it. They're just so low at the guard position right now. Young too. They're very young at the guard position. Very young.
But it probably won't hurt them to take another guard. Lonnie Walker, he's been okay, but hasn't really come along like I think they hope he would. Primo, a combo guard. I'm real interested to see what he does with more time. So they could go no guard. I mean, they still got Deontay Murray. If you're looking at guard wise, Kennedy Chandler from Tennessee, that could be an option. Looking down my list, looking at the list right here. Ty Washington, he's still on the board.
Yeah.
From Kentucky.
Now you got some options, at this point. So they could. I'm gonna say they're gonna go forward. At this point, like looking at the depth, Johnson, come on, Bates Diop is not really doing that much. Devontae Kaycock is not doing like they got it. They have to fill that void unless we see more of Zach Collins or they see something in Zach Collins to where he's gonna play more. I just don't see
if he's healthy.
Yeah, so it's they're probably gonna load that up, especially how Pop is rolling. But another guard wouldn't be bad. Let's see.
Another guard. Yep, Malachi Brownham, guard from Ohio State.
Good pick. Very good pick.
So, like I said, Lonnie Walker, solid role player for them, but hasn't really panned out like they hoped. So you get another guy, 6'5", 6'6" on the wing. Big Ten freshman of the year for Ohio State. So, some solid picks for the Spurs.
Yeah, at this point. But see, we know what Pop does. But does this also go back? We talked about DeJounte Murray. I've seen multiple sources and different people say they think that DeJounte Murray may be moved. Does this play a part in that? And then what the hell do you trade DeJounte Murray? Like, what are you getting in return? Because DeJounte Murray is a hell of a player right now. For you to up and move him.
I don't know who they target, man. I just like, who are you training for? That's my thing. Like, who are you going to train him for?
But Pop don't. From what we've seen in the past, Pop don't never like. It ain't like he's not looking to trade for like a LeBron or like a Russ or like a all-star. You know what I'm saying? We don't see that from the Spurs. They build from what they have and move forward with it. So, it's a good question, man, to see how this plays out. But you're gonna have to offer them everything for them to move DeJounte Murray. I just don't see it happening right now. But to pick up another guard, I mean, I think that was a great piece for them. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes out there and shocks everybody, have a hell of a season with how Pop run his offense and his defense.
Yeah. To go back to the Kemba Walker trade from Woj, they are going to negotiate a buyout. So
For
you
Kemba?
got so you got another guard potentially hitting that free agent market.
Lakers.
Another guard, the Lakers, Clippers.
I don't know if Russ makes it, man.
Well, even if Russ stays with the Lakers, I mean, Kemba got his money. I think for 1 year, this maybe,
Right.
He'll come in, take the vet minimum, and trying to.
He could, but
he could.
My thing is, if you go sign, okay, so if you're the Lakers, right, you go sign Kemba Walker.
Yep.
Kendrick Nunn is already coming back. So he's already opted in, I believe. You already got Kendrick Nunn. You have, you go get a Kemba. Do you try to bring Russ back, or do you try to trade him? At that point, like what? Because you got to go. I think Malik Monk is a free agent. They'll probably get him to come back. At this point, what do you do with Russ if you go get a Kemba?
Oh, you can play. Depending on how Darvin Ham is going to do things, I think you can play Kemba off guard. Play him off guard, or play Russ off guard if you do keep him. I think Kemba, you're more worried about Kemba scoring and being more an accurate shooter than Russ.
Yeah.
Because even when Kemba went away in Tom Thibodeau's doghouse, when he came back, when they got injury depleted at the guard spot, he had like a 40-plus point game coming back.
Yeah, right.
In which I kind of didn't surprise, they kind of did just kind of keep him around, right, a hot hand. But,
he can get buckets. We know he can get buckets.
Oh, yeah.
It just diminished the opportunity. And that's what I mean by where do you – and another thing that plays a part in is Brooklyn. Now they're more likely to say, well, hell, we don't – okay, Kyrie, cool. You want to dip? Okay, cool. Like a trade. Oh, we talked about that. So they got a couple of first-round picks for it.
Okay. Denver's on the clock, and they got to go guard.
Hell yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I like the pick. They had to go guard. Either shooting guard, point guard. They had to come out of guard. I would prefer to get them Kennedy Chandler as a lead guard, because as we watching the playoffs and after Jamal Murray went down,
shit went left ever since then.
Yeah.
Jokic had two. That's one of the reasons why Jokic, I believe, won MVP as well. He had so much, but he can't do everything in the playoffs. That's not going to happen. Not in the 7-game series. He may be able to pull it out once or twice, but not no 4 games. So they needed some help. Will Barton wasn't consistent enough for me. Hell, you know how Eric Gordon is. Eric Gordon go out there and get you 20 points, but won't play no damn defense. So, and Porter, he's been hurt for so long. So yeah, they definitely needed some more help, especially another shooter. That was big.
And you talking about Christian Braun? Well, started watching more at the beginning of the season. You talking about a very athletic white boy. I mean,
Do
got
everything.
a little swag to him, and where he grew up in Kansas and around that Olathe. I don't know you've been around the Kansas City area, but Olathe, Kansas is kind of like a middle class suburb outside of Kansas City. So you talking about a dude from that kind of like that area being brought up, winning the championships he did in high school, going to Kansas, and then develop to the player that he is, and the athleticism he's gonna bring the on the fast break, the shooting, and all that. I think this is a great pickup for the Nuggets. They needed somebody there. Like you mentioned about Will Barton. Nuggets fans have a love-hate with Will Barton.
Yeah.
They really do.
I see why.
And I think if this kid can come in and replace that, I think they'll go a long way with their future. Because, and I think besides this pick here, I think the main thing for the Nuggets is the health of Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr.
Yeah.
That's the main thing, especially Michael Porter Jr. Like you mentioned about ACLs and stuff like that. People come back stronger, more focused, ready to play. With him, ever since he had that back injury, it's just kind of like
exact opposite.
He ain't being right. And we know the back is like one of the more delicate things on your body. And kind of like if you're Orlando Magic, I kind of hated that they gave him that big contract extension while he's out with that injury. I was like, oh, what y'all doing?
All right.
I'm like, it's like hustling backwards, and he ain't right. He ain't right.
Yeah, nah, he completely went backwards, big time.
And you on the hook for all that money.
Yep, you got to pay it.
And Walker Kessler, center for Auburn, drafted by the Grizzlies, but he was going to Minnesota. So
what? I mean, I don't know. We'll see.
I can't stand Auburn, but
yeah, I know that.
But him and Jarabi Smith Kessler, they were a nice combo for Auburn. I think one thing that kind of killed Auburn in my eyes was kind of guard play. Once the guard play kind of went wobbly there towards the end of the season, and you weren't setting up Jarabi Smith for easy buckets and stuff like that, I think that's kind of their downfall, and that's how they kind of bounced out early in the NCAA tournament.
Mm-hmm.
But talking about Kessler, who started out his college career at North Carolina, transferred to Auburn. What he brings to the table for the Timberwolves, I think this is a solid depth piece, really. And I think if he can develop that outside shot, I think that would go a long way for him in his career. But you get a guy who can play inside, can rebound, do the dirty work that sometimes that drives me nuts by Karl Anthony Towns, that he doesn't do more enough.
True.
I was like, you kill me sometimes, man.
Yeah. Well, they're going to be able to bounce off of each other, the iron sharpens iron mentality, because, like you said, if Kessler can get his shooting right, he can be a hell of a player. And we know that's what Karl Anthony Towns is. He just won the three-point shooting contest. So you got somebody that you're going to be with that can shoot. And we know the weaknesses of Karl Anthony Towns now that Kessler can kind of help him with. So, but I just, we talked about it probably 10, 15 minutes before. I just felt like I thought that Minnesota needed to go at the guard position, knowing that D'Angelo could possibly move. Now, this may mean that they don't move him,
I would never trust Patrick Beverly. I don't care who he played for. That just not. I would never trust him. I'm sorry. So for me, unless you're gonna lean on D'Angelo Russell to be that guy, which I was quoted a while back saying that I felt like he was a franchise changer, which he hasn't fit that mold to be, but he's been a pretty decent player. You have to buy in and know that's going to be your guard. That's going to be your go-to guy. Him and Anthony Edwards, those are going to be your guys. And if they can play their part, now you got you some bigs in rotation. That's not gonna, you know what I mean? You're not gonna see a lack of effort when Karl-Anthony Towns leave the court because you got a Nas Reed, you got a Jaden, now you got Kessler. So on the defensive side too, which is huge for Minnesota because I believe Minnesota was bad on defense last year. They were giving up over 120, probably 115 a game last year. So, you know, for him to lead in blocks that showed that he had that defensive side, he should play a huge piece for them.
Yeah. And I think, you know, key for Minnesota, can you make a back-to-back berth for the playoffs? You know, can you do that? You know, Sacramento, we'll see what they do with the full season with De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis, and you putting Keegan Murray in the fold.
Right.
Who else I'm thinking about? Spurs. We'll see what they do with their young crew and stuff like that. And the Lakers, God knows what they're going to do, but if everybody's fully healthy and whatnot, and a new coach and all that stuff, they could be motivated to return. The Clippers, same thing. Everybody was hurt. So if you're Minnesota, you hope this young kid can come in and be a difference maker for you. And just kind of help and just keep things rolling along. And don't revert back to where you were 2 years ago.
Yeah. Philly up now.
I think they go guard. No? David Ooh, I like David Rudy. Ford from Colorado State.
Yeah.
Big. If y'all don't know this guy, ladies and gentlemen, if y'all don't watch mid-major basketball, you see more post play compared to what you see in the Big Five. This guy is a low post player, very explosive. You know, can't step out and shoot, but his bread and butter is like from the free throw line down.
He's going to Philly. He's going to Memphis.
I think he's going to Memphis. Proposed trade to Memphis. So I thought he'd be a good fit for Philly. You know, playing alongside Embiid, but I guess it's going to Memphis. But back to Roddy though.
That's a great piece.
I think if y'all look at the highlights, ladies and gentlemen, or if you've seen him play, very explosive, can play inside out. I think if he can develop, I think he could be a more very athletic Kyle Anderson.
Yeah.
If you really look at it. I like Kyle Anderson too. But geez, he plays like a slow motion style. Like shot release, going to the basket. It's so slow with Kyle Anderson. But with Roddy, you know, great guy. You know, Colorado State got bounced early from the tournament when they played Michigan. You know, and people kind of surprised he left early like he did. But as we always say in these drafts, it only takes one team to love you. And he must got a promise to somebody. And he gets selected here in the first round from Philly, but going to the Memphis Grizzlies. But I'm really happy for him.
That's a great pick, especially for Memphis. I mean, we were just talking about Dylan Brooks, right? We were talking about what they needed. Now, at first, I was thinking that possibly Philly don't let him, you know, for them to draft him, but that's a hell of a pick. I mean, I feel like for me,
that is something that Memphis could definitely take. It's so many centers out there. You know, they're not worrying about replacing Steven Adams if they need to. They can do that. So Roddy looks like a good piece for them. It's going to be something that plays a huge part for them because they need that other player outside of John Moran. You know what I'm saying? They need somebody else that can. I mean, Desmond Bain did come out later on, but they need more. I believe Tyus Jones is a free agent, if I'm not mistaken. So possibly may not get him back. He's probably going to get big money somewhere else. But getting him, that's definitely gonna help. But I've told you before, this team is so young. I just don't know if I trust them to go all the way just yet. I give them some time.
Well, speaking of young, in order for Memphis to get this kid, according to Shams, the Sixers traded Danny Green and the 23rd pick to Memphis to acquire DeAnthony Melton.
So Danny Green in Memphis.
Yeah.
So what the hell happened with Dylan Brooks? Because
they must still like him.
Well, I mean, if you go trade for Danny Green, unless Danny Green must have a year on his contract left, they're probably going to buy it out, possibly. But, damn, you went and trade. You got DeAnthony Melton, in Philly. Him, Tyrese Maxey, James Harden. So they're loaded at the guard position as well. But now you have to make a decision what you're going to do with some of those players that surrounded around John Morant. Now, clearly getting rid of your guards, John Morant is going to be that guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we know that. But now, you know, he's going to probably take a lot more bulk of the minutes. We didn't even see that much last year. Now, he did get hurt, but a lot of the time we did see they had like a lot of guys they had in rotation over there in Memphis. I think they're going to minimize that a little bit by letting Tyus Jones probably walk, trading DeAnthony Melton. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out big time because that trade is huge. Now, Milwaukee is up. I'll tell you guys right now. I played NBA 2K just yesterday online. And I'm playing against somebody that has Milwaukee. If they give the ball to Giannis, everybody else is going to be open. So they might grab them a guard here, I would think, to load that up.
Yep, that's what they did. Marjon Beauchamp, guard from the G League Ignite. So one of these young kids that just went straight to the G League.
Well, it's because you have a player like in Giannis who he requires so much attention that because he requires so much attention, somebody's going to be open. It's kind of that Shaq, mentality where they require so much attention, you're going to double team, and somebody's going to find a way to be open. And all they need is for those players to knock them open shots. And he's going to play a huge role in that, like a Grayson Allen did, Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton. That's a huge piece for them.
And they're showing like this kid's journey. I always say it's a red flag, honestly, if you bounce around multiple high schools.
Always. I mean, I transferred 2 schools, but I ain't go to about 4 schools now. I went to 2, and that was it.
And, due to my dad's, service in the military, I went to 2 high schools. But, I mean, I'm not almost to a third that I probably should have done, but that's another story for another day. But, this kid bounced around all these high schools, paid a cost for a little bit, signed with the G League, and it all worked out for him in the end. So he goes to Milwaukee. He goes to Milwaukee. I think this is more of a development pick. I don't think they'll ask him to do a lot this time around this year because I think Milwaukee probably still bringing some veterans in to kind of retool and whatnot. and go about that route.
Yeah, I mean, but like I said, at this point, you're looking at a team that has damn near everything on the team right now. They're just loading up on rotation guys. Like we're not in that the top of the draft where they have needs. You know what I'm saying? Like we're at a team now where they're just adding on to the things that they do have. He could possibly take away the minutes from I think they may lose Wesley Matthews. I think he's a free agent.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and he didn't really do too much for them, but he probably can. I'm damn pretty sure he could play a bigger part for them than Wesley Matthews did. So they got younger, granted. But they got some guys. See now, versatile. He's a defender. You add him into that rotation with the other guys that they got. He fits perfect in Milwaukee.
I never seen this kid play. Just watching some highlights. Very athletic. Can get up down the court. I think Pat Connaughton is also a free agent. So
he is. He might be.
I think so.
Let me double check. He might be right.
Let me double check on that.
He might be a restricted free agent, but I'm gonna double check him. But even if so, that makes this pick even more valuable for them.
I'll take the bet. Yeah, Connaughton, he exercises his option to remain with the Bucks for another year. So
okay. So he was okay, right.
So he'd be playing behind Connaughton, Grayson Allen. So no big rush.
Grayson Allen isn't like a guaranteed, like, well, let me give you 30 minutes a game type. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, true.
So he could steal minutes from me. Like, he could come in there and take some of Grayson Allen minutes. Wesley Matthews is the only guy that probably had more minutes than anybody. That's because he was a very good defender. He didn't do shit when he was in LA.
No, he sure didn't.
So at this point, now that he's went from LA to Milwaukee and he's done, that opens a door, open minutes for somebody. I can't literally sit here and say Grayson Allen is going to take all those minutes. He's not a great defender himself. So this guy, he definitely should take a lot of minutes. And like I said, Milwaukee just got younger, which is very because Wesley Matthews is 35, I believe, 34, something like that. So now you just went, a hell of a lot younger in defense and also can shoot, which is what they needed. Damn, the Spurs up again.
Yeah. Do they go the foreign route? But geez, it ain't to me like foreign guys that kind of really stick out this year.
Nope.
I have no clue what's going on with Stephen A. Smith. He's sitting there just holding his head and they zoomed in his face. I got the TV on mute. And Spurs chose guard Blake Wesley for Notre Dame. So,
Pop has a lot to his madness.
I saw this kid play when they play against Alabama in the tournament. And I think it was just more the big men that kind of sealed the deal against Alabama because Alabama was like a size. But he was pretty nice, for Notre Dame. So he's about the same size of Lonnie Walker too. So, I guess Pop, just retooling and trying to find the right fits with these guys here.
Yeah, I mean that's what it seems like. It seems like right now he's kind of building, but his team is a hell of a lot younger, So, but see, this is one of the few times where we don't have high expectations for the Spurs, right? We don't expect the Spurs to be in the damn NBA Finals right now. So he's kind of putting together that group. The young guys he got at 9, 20, and 25 with DeJounte Murray, I think that's going to play a huge part. I don't think that we see them make a drastic drop, but I think the Spurs will make an impact moving forward. Mavericks are finally up.
This pick is going. Well, this pick is going to the Rockets for the Christian Wood deal. So, so whoever they pick is, going to the Rockets. I still look at Kennedy Chandler on the block. Still on the board. I think Houston probably needs another young guard in the fold. So I think if I'm with Houston, I'm looking at him because I can't trust Kevin Porter like that.
Nope.
He's a talented player, but I need an actual lead guard. And, I need a lead guard besides, a guy that's kind of erratic in his play and can set up Josh Green better on the perimeter. So, we'll see who Houston picks here.
It'll be kind of interesting. At this point, we want to see what they do, especially a few picks is very, very important. But like I said, they're in that rebuilding stage, and it's fine to put your pieces together and see where they go. But them, the OKCs, the Orlando Magic.
Yeah,
you're putting pieces together for 3 or 4 years down the road. So these pieces are valuable. So now, like we talked about before, we sat and talked. I talked about how the hell we did not need Mo Bamba as the player he was, but SGA, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander went after him, and look what kind of player he is. Mm-hmm. Like, granted, he's at OKC, who's still picking high because of how their franchise is, but that's a big piece that could have made a difference.
Yeah. And the selection's in, and Mavericks pick Wendell Moore. Okay. D-Lock, before we talk about Wendell Moore to the chat, I want to shout out to the chat real quick. Thank y'all for popping in and out as we go 2 hours in. Devin Robinson want to ask about Kemba Walker. Did he find his way out to LA with the Lakers? Do LeBron, I guess, he's saying LeBron has always wanted to play with him. He doesn't know if LA got the money to pay him, like we discussed earlier. Do they got the money, to do it, or would he be willing to accept the veterans minimum?
Minimum, yeah.
To kind of just ring chase for a year. What you think about that?
So there's two things that go with that. I think if that does happen, there's no Kyrie going to LA. I think that's done. And two, there's no way in hell that they have him and Russ on the rock. I just don't see. Now, Kemba, at this point of his career, I feel like he wants that opportunity to play. So the money side is not a big issue for him at this point. Taking the league minimum, being able to play. Most guys that know that they're gonna play with the LeBron, like, come on, you're gonna play with LeBron with the lake with the purple and gold on, like that's like a dream come true. That's like a thing that a lot of them, want. Then you got Anthony Davis, if you get him healthy. So for me, I definitely can see that possibly happening. I wouldn't rule it out. But I think if that does happen, there's more moves that would be made. And I mean, I know what we see in Russ, and we know that Russ can play, but I'm looking at it like how I would expect LeBron to look at it. This dude has like 2 or 3 years left, like playing at a high level, right? He's chasing Kareem. Cool. Steph Curry just won his 4th ring, right? They're already comparing the two. He wants to win another ring, clearly. AD is up and down, so he's trying to catch him when he's healthy. Get the NBA Finals. That's not happening the way Russ plays. It's just not. It doesn't matter how many times that we look at it. It's not happening. They bring him off. They bring him as a 6th man. It's just not gonna happen. So I think if Kemba do make that move, which I think, to be honest with you, I think you're gonna look at the Clippers, Lakers, the Nets. Who else? I think those 3 will be on his wish list, or teams that Kemba's gonna consider. I don't really see anybody else there that can do anything for him. But those 3 are gonna be the teams that he's gonna consider. And if he do consider going to the Lakers, and that's like basically close to a final deal or a done deal, they're gonna have to consider moving Russ. His play is more so of a not necessarily about winning, but more about stats, collecting. And if that's the case, the thing about getting stats, what comes with stats is what? With money. So if Kemba's thinking the same thing with money, okay, cool. He gets his stats, he gets his money somewhere else, to Orlando or somewhere else. I don't see that. I do see him trying to make a fit to go win a championship, whether it's with Brooklyn, whether it's with the Clippers, whether it's with the Lakers. But if that does happen, I think we do see Russ on the move.
Yeah, I think if Kemba does come, I think they probably look more to that Charlotte deal, of Gordon Hayward, and then whoever you throw in there, Oubre and whoever else. So where Kemba goes, if the Lakers can work it out, hey, awesome. Awesome. Because I think the way things have gone with him, D-Lock, especially in New York, going back home to New York, and things didn't go out the way he hoped, I think he's itching for the chance to kind of, he still got some in the tank.
Right.
When he signed with Boston, we thought, okay, him going there with the young crew of Tatum, Brown, and with Horford, who should have stayed around, you thought they were going to do some work, and the injuries kind of hurt them. So we'll see what Kemba does. But I think what we alluded to earlier, wherever happens with Kyrie and what he decides to do, will kind of put things into place.
But does anybody wait around for that? Like, what teams wait around to see? Because that's going to happen within the next. What's the date? Today's the 22nd, I believe. Like by next Thursday, we're going to know.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, I think that we hear about this probably like the 20. I think we hear about this by probably our show Sunday. Make sure y'all tune in. I think we hear it maybe Monday or Tuesday. I don't think it's the last deadline to where I think. Come on now, we got they're drafting people, and Woj is tweeting the draft picks before the drafts are even posted on ESPN. So I'm almost positive that the news about Kyrie, all these other players that have to opt in, we're going to hear about that prior to the deadline. So we're going to know about this prior to this. So the fact that Kemba is going to be a free agent is going to be a huge possibility
for many teams. Now, the thing about it, like you said about Kyrie, he also has his wish list. So let's say he goes to Miami or he goes to the Lakers. Does that affect the list that Kemba has? You know, so it's a lot of different ways that it can go. Russ is just in a bad situation, right? I mean, he's in a good situation, but it's up and down, man. You just never know.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh.
And the Heat on the clock. I mean, they're picking right now. They select Nikolai Jovic from Serbia, a guy that's kind of been like either one or two in the top international picks. So, you know, Miami going a different route here.
Right.
PJ Tucker declined his option. You know, there's rumors of him maybe taking a big money deal with the Sixers. So, and you're talking about like about 7 foot 4 from Serbia. So, and I give the Miami Heat credit in this, D-Lock. I give him credit in this. I'll tell this in the show. They've done an excellent job scouting talent and developing those guys, especially in the undrafted route.
Talk about the Miami Heat, right?
Yeah. They have done an excellent job the past few years with their draft picks and the undrafted guys. They have done a great job. And this kid could be coming next in line to be maybe a nice development for them. And you got to think about this. Miami, when you come in, there are certain requirements they have for you just to stay in shape. We heard the stories about this. That's the big key.
Right.
That's like one step out of the way. If you're at this level here, fit wise, then everything else is gonna fall into place. And we've seen the fruits of that labor.
Right. Well,
You
Pat
know?
Riley is one of the greatest of all time, on the court and off the court, as we've seen. So, for this guy to fall to them was a surprise. And two, like you said, we've seen Miami Heat do a lot with prospects with not as much high expectations as this kid. So I expect for him to get in that situation. Come on, like I feel like Jimmy Butler is in the perfect place for him.
Oh yeah.
Like that environment, like, you know, even though him and Spoelstra got into it, Udonis, they got into it, but that's like the perfect place for a player like a Jimmy Butler, because they're so competitive. They want to win so much that they're damn near fighting each other for because of the expectations.
Mm-hmm.
So it fits perfect. So you bring him into that kind of environment, and that's one of the reasons why I hate to piggyback back to the Kyrie wish list. Dude, Kyrie won't fit in damn Miami. Somebody said it earlier. I had to sit and think. Like, I'm like, this is on his wish list. Ain't no way in hell Kyrie gonna say he don't feel like going to work in Miami. Not with no damn Jimmy Butler there. Not with no Spoelstra, not with no Pat Riley, and damn sure not with no Udonis Haslem. That ain't happening. So that culture and how they do things, how they go about winning, how they go about success, how they go about basketball. This kid has no reason to not succeed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, at that kind of situation, that area, it's just that culture is just so. Dude, you see that kind of stuff? Come on, man. We heard about Jimmy Butler in Minnesota, what he did. He went out in practice and beat all them guys and said, "Man, I'm better than any of you guys, and I can get the hell on and go do this somewhere else." Then you have a situation in Philly, and we see what Philly has been. So you go to a scenario where Miami is, and we know what Pat Riley is. So started with the Lakers way back in the day. So now you kind of see that culture and what they bring to the table. It's gonna be fine. I mean,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like that kind of culture, man. Like that's the kind of culture that you would love to see. It's just that I was having a conversation with one of my friends, and they were saying, "Well, is there any way that Kevin Durant, let's just say Kevin Durant wants to get traded because Kyrie goes to the Lakers. What the hell happens if Kevin Durant goes to Miami?" And I'm like, if that type of stuff happen, that'd be a good fit. But again, back to it, that culture alone, there's somebody that's a team to deal with, man. I really like that culture. I wanted them to go to the NBA Finals, to be honest with you.
Yeah. And the Warriors are picking with the 28th pick.
I don't know what the hell they're gonna do. They got so many pieces. They might go small.
Oh. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, if y'all don't know about Patrick Baldwin Jr.,
long.
if y'all don't know about this kid, this is a kid that was top 5 coming in this college basketball season. Talking about recruiting wise, top 5 coming in. Decides to go play for his dad at Milwaukee, and then didn't play as much this season because of the injuries. If this kid's healthy, D-Lock, you talking about a 6'10" shooting weapon for the Warriors. This kid probably has one of the better jump shots and forms and strokes in this draft. And this is a kid
that's crazy.
In the beginning of the year that I had my top 10 who really fell off, that if you took a gamble with him in the late first, early second as a contending team and you bring him along nicely, I think you got a real gem. And like I said, if the injuries are past him, God, it's going to be hell when you play the Warriors. And like I told you in the past, with the other young guys, with Kuminga, Moody, Poole, Wiseman, if this kid can be brought along, you got a great thing right there.
That's crazy. And he can
got
shoot.
A great pick right there. Yep. So I love the pick for Baldwin Jr. going here. You know, it's unfortunate the injuries happened to him. That, you know, if he stayed healthy throughout the year, got Milwaukee to the NCAA tournament, you know, could we talk about a potential Big 4 at the top of the draft? Or potential top 5, along with Jaden Ivey. That's like a big what if. So we could look at like down the line here that this kid, if he don't get traded here tonight or whatever, we're gonna look at this kid. Hey, spend some time in the G League, kind of like Jordan Poole did. We bring him back up the following year, and we'll see how things go.
But at this point, for one, you know, the opportunity to play with your dad is probably like one of the dreams as a kid.
Yeah.
Do that alone is probably hard to turn down. Right? Now, granted, if he do go to a Duke or Kentucky or LSU or Auburn or anything, he is a top 4 pick just alone by that.
Mm-hmm.
But to go there and deal with some kind of injuries and have this expectation that he has, young guy. I mean, he's from that area. In small comparisons to Jalen Cook, Jalen Johnson. But the thing that we don't want to see with the Warriors, there's one thing you did not want to see the Warriors get. It was an extra shooter.
Yeah.
That's the one thing you did not want. Like, you don't want to see them with an extra shooter. So now that they have an extra shooter along with the Wiseman, who's going to be healthy next year, Jordan Poole come off the bench, Otto Porter, who can jack up threes when you need him to. Now
I mean, it's just at this point you have these guys that, again, we talked about. Who was it? Dallas. They want to go get 2 points. Oh, I'm sorry, not Dallas. Boston. They have an off game, or they don't have shooters making their shots. Golden State's going down the jacking up threes. You go get you another guy that can shoot. You're causing more of an issue for other teams now at Golden State. So Steph Curry, this pick alone lets you know that they won't really need Steph Curry to do as much during the season, during the regular season.
And you hope those younger guys kind of like take more of a responsibility and whatnot. So like during the course of the season, so come playoff time, Steph, who'd be like mid-30s, Klay Thompson mid-30s,
Right.
Draymond, same thing. You hope for those young guys, which I think like Otto Porter, I think he may get big money in free agency. We'll see. Andre Iguodala, do they bring him back?
Just because he's the Udonis for the Golden State Warriors in my eyes right now. Not as old, but he's that coach that I've been here. I can teach you the Warriors way type. But it's just the fact that, like you said, they have the guys there that can give that break for a Steph or a Klay.
And Ty Washington getting drafted to the Memphis Grizzlies, proposed trade to the Rockets. So the Rockets get another point guard, Ty Washington, 6'3", 6'4", about the same height as Kevin Porter.
Right.
Second team All SEC this past year. Very explosive kid. Very, well-rounded, balanced kid. And I think, for Houston, we just talked about it. Kind of need another guard there. And I don't know how Steven Silas is going to play things with this group.
Mm-hmm.
But, I think there's one person who may be on the hot seat this year. Getting Jarabi Smith falling to you. Got Jalen Green in the fold.
Gwen.
Yeah. Gwen. I hope Steven Silas can figure this out.
Yeah, he has a lot of pieces. I mean, to be honest with you, if we're being real, the Houston Rockets are not having a bad draft.
Mm-mm.
Their draft is these past couple of drafts have been very, very solid. They have a decent roster, but like I said earlier, we have the roster. Now you have to put the rotation together. You got to get this team to gel. Now, to be honest, Silas has been there how long? He's been there about a year. I think he's only been there a year, correct? Silas has only been there for a year.
Yes, he has.
So for me, I don't think that it's right for him to be on the hot seat just yet. Because we're talking about being on the West. We're talking about the expectation against the playoffs. Now, this team he has is very young. So they need to get it together. But they need to give Silas some time. This is what I mean by front offices giving up so quickly. They need to do something and make sure that the group that they have a chance to grow before they try to replace the coach quickly. But to be honest, to your point, he's going to be on the hot seat. That's just something that's almost guaranteed that's going to happen. But that's a hell of a pick, though, at this point. You don't forget, Kenyon Martin is over there too. Kenyon Martin Jr. He's one of their pieces as well. But they're probably going to release Boban. I don't know what the plan is with Marquise Chris. He'll probably be gone as well. But, dude, I like their roster.
The Thunder are back on the clock, but this pick is getting traded to the Nuggets.
I got JaMychal Green went over to them.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about JaMychal Green. Yeah, but I think, they might keep him around just as a veteran.
You think?
Or they might buy him out. I don't know.
I mean, he might pick up the money and just.
If I was, I just keep the check. Hey, man, just pay me.
Yeah, at this point, because unless you're trying to get bought out and go to the Lakers or go to the Warriors, like I just don't. I don't know. I just feel like you go to the team like the Thunder or something, especially with all them damn picks. You definitely ain't finna, do anything right with that.
And Peyton Watson, 4 from UCLA, picked by the Thunder, but proposed trade going to the Nuggets. So I think this is a kid you stick in the G League for a year. I think this is what you do if you're the Nuggets. You stick this kid to the G League and just kind of go about that route. You know, in my eyes, I don't see him contributing right away unless injuries happen to that squad. So, you know, I think this is a pick you kind of stash in the G League for the year. And I think you just go about that way if you're the Nuggets.
Yeah. I actually just seen, I think Kevin Durant tweet, it's a wings league. So
Yeah.
he knows. As one of the players, one of the great players in the league, he definitely knows what type of league this is. So, these pieces are very valuable. And you can't make any decisions that's going to push you back. So OKC is another team like Houston that has hell of a picks.
Mm-hmm.
They're very young. You're not having the pressure to win right now, but you have a lot of pieces to where at some point we expect for you to be competitive moving forward in the playoffs.
I agree with you there. With the Lakers coming up here soon, and I look at how, and I kind of look at this board that's been shaken out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Kennedy Chandler still available, point guard. Now, granted, Kendrick Nunn picked up his option, will be back in the fold. So we'll see what he is healthy. They had worked out a lot of wing guys, 3D type of guys also.
Right.
They're not trading this pick. So if you think the Lakers are going to trade this pick after they gave up the cash and stuff like that to Magic, don't do that. Don't think that.
Hell no. They ain't doing that. Where do you think they go? Who and what, if worst case position, where do you think they pick?
Me personally, I sound like a homer. I go Keon Ellis, guard from Alabama. Guard forward from Alabama. You're talking about dude 6'6", 6'7", can guard 4 positions, and especially what we see in the playoff run, like a Dallas, for example, guard all 5 of those guys. Like a Golden State, if they go small, guard all 5 of those guys. You know, kind of looking around elsewhere around the league. You know, Phoenix. You know, we seen what the Spurs done. They need that 3D type of guy to kind of shoot the ball well and play excellent defense.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's on the board. I'm looking around. Johnny Juzang from UCLA. That's another one. Trevor Keels.
That's who I was thinking.
You know, Bryce McGowan's Nebraska. Scottie Pippen Jr. I mean, so it's just there's a lot of options there, but it's got to be the right option.
For me,
I ain't gonna lie to you. For the Lakers, if I'm being honest, I don't trust Anthony Davis' health. I don't trust. I just I don't trust what uh what's gonna happen next year. So for me, I'm kind of looking at the forward position, forward center. There's a couple guys there. The guards, free agency on both sides. There's a lot of guards, a lot of centers. I think you can find some value at the guard position. The Kyrie situation is up there. Um, Now we know that Kimba's going to possibly be available. You're probably going to have to look at getting you a forward a forward somewhere or somebody, a big man. That's what you need to get. Now clearly, you know the Pacers are going to pick, but the Lakers need to get a big man that they can rely on a little bit more. And also, even if you have AD at his 100%, somebody that's going to take a little bit of pressure or minutes away from him. He doesn't need to play as many minutes. The caliber of guys that they got with the LeBron, with an AD, they get in the playoff. The playoffs is what is important to them. That's what they're trying to do. So that's what they want to be competing for an NBA Finals championship. They're not like the OKC Thunder. They're not like the Orlando Magic. They're not like the Houston Rockets. The Lakers are about winning damn titles. So you need to get you somebody that can play a huge part, that can come in and help the forward position guys not have a huge role so much because LeBron is going to be LeBron. And the thing, like I said, with LeBron is you don't really need him to be giving you so much at the age he is now. You need more so rotation. So, and we can look at their roster now so far with the Russ. Hopefully they bring by Malik Monk, THT, who possibly could be traded as well. But the problem is Anthony Davis' health. So for me, that's what you need to really look at. They hope they really need to look at is looking at the center, the big man position. They need somebody that can ease the pressure of having so much on Anthony Davis, because the more that he's in there, the more chance that we've already accepted that he's injury prone. You know, we've already accepted that. So now at this point, we want to make sure that we're not necessarily leaving him out there as much. He needs to be the guy when they need him to, but also bring somebody else in that can keep that energy when he leaves the court. So for me, I think the Lakers go at maybe a 4 or a 5 with this 32nd pick. I believe you're muted right now. You might have, I think, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I hope so too, as well. It's just like, you know, can it be? Is it going to be the right pick?
Yeah.
And you know, can Rob Pelinka, you know, make that right choice for this team? And that, I think that's one thing you kind of have to look at. You know, can he build a right team for this team, for this squad for the long run?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I kind of, you know, that's why I kind of worry about him. It's like, I don't know if you heard him talk sometimes. It's like he's so out there. It's like sometimes, like, what are you saying, man? And I wonder that he been dealing with the age thing so long that he kind of lost some of his basketball IQ. Not totally, but it's just like, do you know what you're doing here? Like, you give away all these picks for Anthony Davis, and yes, you won a championship, but it's just like,
Right.
God, it's a lot to give up. Same thing for Rush. You gave up a lot of role players for Russ, and
He
things
hasn't
didn't turn out. So
at all. Yeah, and you're talking the Lakers. Like we're talking about the Lakers, the Yankees, the Cowboys. Who am I missing? Alabama. Like these teams make moves to. They're about winning titles. So, like I said, it's going to be interesting to see what comes up. Now, I believe. They're picking now, or is it? Yeah, they're picking now. Follow up there, man. We better make. Hey, we better. We need to make sure we do something with this pick.
let's see.
I think Paulo is going to be a hell of a pick. We just got to see what he does moving forward.
Pacers select Andrew Neighborhard from Orlando. I think a guy just come in and be a nice role player for them. Nothing too special.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for your Magic, you still got a lot nice young players on the board.
So I'm gonna tell you what I see here as far as our young core: Paulo, Franz Wagner, Cole Anthony, Jalen Suggs, Wendell Carter, Markel Fultz, Jonathan Isaac, and RJ Hampton.
Yep.
So your core is nice. Um, Now we have to make some type of move forward with this team.
Do y'all go big man or do you go?
Here you go. I think you go forward here. You get your because even with you, I told you I think Paulo's going to start at the 3. We want Isaac to be that guy, but you just never know off injury. So I think you go forward. You don't need a guard. You need to go forward here. Figured that. Franz Wagner, partner. So now, we talked about what Kevin Durant said as far as the wings is what runs the league. You get you another wingman. You get you a guy that can shoot. Um, it's not going to make a big impact when it comes to grabbing boards, stuff like that. But he is a shooter, which is what you need. Now what they're doing is leading me to believe that they're going to bump Wendell Carter down to the 5, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So now, remember, Obama is probably going to walk. Somebody's going to pay for him. But now or maybe Obama possibly comes back. But Wendell Carter's going to be your 5. You're probably going to start Paulo at the 3. And now you have a young core. Now, what I would do, and this may be a little shocking, but I would have either Cole Anthony or Jalen Suggs come off the bench. And I would want that to be my 6th man. Because now you can run ISO with the Jalen Suggs or Cole Anthony. Both of them can play the 1. They both can play the 1 fine. But now and then on top of that, you got RJ Hampton. So you're loaded with guards. But I need, when you bring that second group in, I need a captain. I need a number 1. Remember, we talked about Boston. Boston problem was they didn't have a true point guard.
Yeah.
So now I feel like you have a true point guard type in a Jalen Suggs and a Cole Anthony. So no reason to start both. Now you got to figure out what you can do with Markel Fultz. So like RJ Hampton can come in with that second group. Well, both of those guys can run the one, and Cole Anthony and Jalen Suggs. So you're gonna have to decide which one comes off the bench and which one comes with that second group, in my opinion. But there's too much talent on that roster, man, to not have some type of improvement. There's no way in hell we should win less than 20. We should win less than 25 games next year.
Yeah. I kind of surprised. Maybe we'll see these trades maybe later on tonight or whatever. I kind of surprised some of these squads haven't made some moves to kind of get better. Like some of these contended teams make moves to kind of get better. Like you mentioned at Boston, they need a lead guard. You talk about your Orlando Magic. Why not throw a free first to Cole Anthony and maybe give up like a Peyton Pritchard or something like that? You know? Or whatever. Just like this. Kind of surprised some of these contenders, unless they went and see how free agency goes, what their cap is to start with. Like,
Right.
kind of surprised, these teams haven't really, gone about not, getting some pieces.
I mean, you got a few of them now. It's just now you have to be able to build with what you got, and you have to stick because you got a lot of good guys in your roster for most of these teams. We talked about it with Houston, OKC, and Orlando. Now you just have to figure out your rotation, and your coach has to coach. That's it, and the motivation by the coaches, the athletes as well. What does that mean for OG? Oh my gosh, 72-20. Didn't know he was that tall. They got him listed at 4, at 7 feet.
Yeah.
There's no way in hell. So Bo sure is a free agent.
Yeah, looking it up. Christian, Coloco. Yeah, 7 feet. I think more of a center, really.
Yeah.
But he kind of falls into that long length of the Raptors,
That's true.
And they're a team that kind of need another guard because at times of the playoffs, it was like, y'all throwing Scotty Barnes at your point forward, Siakam out there. Fred VanVleet, he was hurt. That probably didn't help things, but also you throw out Curtis Bolchard out there, Prince, Kumingay. I probably butchered that. So you throwing those guys all together, I was like,
They going out there with all long, yeah.
Yeah,
long.
I was like, damn, that's okay doing spurts, but y'all doing that long periods.
They trying to slow the game down. It seems like when they do that shit. Lakers are coming up soon.
Oh boy. I'd be real interested to see who they go with.
But they're gonna have to, at this point, it just OKC is coming up, boy. But see, this type of stuff, like I said this a while back when OKC had all them damn picks. You got all these options. Ain't no way in hell you shouldn't hit on at least one player.
Yeah.
It's a good pick. Well, he damn sure ain't finna get that many, boy. But I look at their roster, what they got, and I'm like, okay, somebody ain't finna play.
Oh no.
Like I'm looking at, it, I'm like, okay, somebody damn sure ain't playing.
No.
Mm. Do the Lakers go EJ Lindell? Do they go forward?
Long as it's 3-and-D, I don't care.
Mm.
As long as it's 3-and-D, I don't care. There's a host of guys that they brought in for workouts. I mean, you already know who I wanted them to pick.
Mm-hmm. But it's just for me. I mean, I'm pretty sure Ham is going to have them kind of mimicking what Milwaukee had. Now, they don't have a Giannis, but Ron. It's going to be interesting how they set it up because they're going to need, like I said, I feel like they need a forward big time. But at this point, because we don't know, what Russ. It's crazy how they don't. What they should have done though, the NBA needs to set it up to where the opt in that needs to be decided. The deadline needs to be before the draft. In my eyes, because you need to know what your players are going to do and how that's going to affect you. But at this point, they're coming up. So, and it's the second round when they don't show how much. They don't show the time. They just say round 2 and the pick is in.
I hope Palinka don't reach on somebody that. If I'm picking the second round, if I'm like a rebuilding team, I'm taking a young guy I can develop down the line. If I'm a contending team or a team that's trying to get back into contention like the Lakers, I'm taking like a guy that's been in college for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
And I think that's the route the Lakers should go. But, I don't think that will happen.
This is going to be an interesting pick. It's going to be very interesting. Palinka can't mess this up. I mean, he could, but he better not. He might mess around. I mean, he might go out there and make a good. I would hope he would make a good pick. You just never know. They're taking forever. They giving the Lakers extra time for their pick.
Yeah. Get all their storylines out. Talk about LeBron. Hell, ESPN talk about them all the damn time. I don't know what else is there to talk about.
For real. The pick in.
Talking about LeBron, Westbrook, Davis.
I can see it.
This is a kid that maybe could have stayed could use another year of school. But going back to what I said about Ron Pelinka, and this is like another thing right here for him. Fall in love with his alma mater, Michigan. This smells like a Rob Pelinka pick. A Michigan guy. And a Michigan guy that he's going to take a little bit of time to develop. In which a team that's kind of, needs some results right now, and you traded to get in this spot.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the results here.
Yeah.
Like I said, I wish the kid the best. I think there are other guys that haven't been drafted yet that you could have put in this position who could have contributed for you earlier. That's my main thing. And I hope Pelinka didn't do this just because he's a Michigan guy. That was what that worries me if he's just picking this kid just because he's a Michigan guy.
Yeah.
You can't go in that thought process like that.
Nah.
Like you had Mo Wagner, you got him from Michigan, gone after a couple of years. He's down there playing with his brother now. Just thinking.
It just ain't make no type of sense. I mean, but I told you what I think they needed. Like you said, that's more of a bias pick. That's what we call it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And kind of look at Twitter real quick and see what the people are saying. I'm not seeing anything. I mean, yeah. People are saying, yeah, he's a former 5-star recruit and stuff, but still, what's that exactly supposed to mean?
Yeah.
So, man, Lakers trade for a pick, draft a prospect down the line. So we'll see after tonight who gets added to the Summer League roster and whatnot. And just go from there.
Yeah.
So real quick, D-Lock. Who are some of your winners tonight in tonight's draft?
So my biggest winner, to be honest with you, is Houston, man. I feel like Houston. I love what my Magic did, but I feel like Houston had a hell of a draft. They had a lot of picks, also. But to get Jabari sitting there at 3 was projected number 1. A lot of guys, fell to them in this draft. I would give this draft for them an A+. They did a lot. So for me, I just feel like this is something that, to your point, this draft alone made Coach Silas on the hot seat. If they can't get to at least, I would say probably between 35 and 48, 50 wins.
Mm-hmm.
Getting 20 wins is not going to do it with this young group that they have. Bringing back in Kevin Porter, Jalen Green, Sanguin. Okay, you traded Christian Wood, but you have all these young pieces with the Jason Tate. Like the list goes on. You're gonna fit in the Jabari Smith. So these guys that they got, it's a hell of a draft class for them. A hell of a draft class. So, and this is not the first time. I think last year's draft class was was great as well. So now um, they got the pieces. Now I'm not going to sit here and say, well, hell, if you don't win the NBA Finals next year, next 2 or 3 years, your ass is out. No, I just feel like they need to show some type of progression with this roster that they have and that they will have. So to pair, like I said, Jabari Smith with the Kevin Porter, Jalen Green, Jay Sean Tate, Sengun, and the rest of the pieces they got in this draft, this is I definitely see them winning this draft big time. One of the bigger winners to me.
I go over your Orlando Magic. I thought getting Paolo was a great pick for them. I think they could have either went Jarabi or him. I thought that was a great pickup for them. Houston, I think they have a very solid draft tonight. I like the picks they selected, and we'll see how everything gets put together and what to do with John Wall and that situation. And once they kind of get that figured out the way, I think things are probably look on the up and up for Houston. And then for Chet Holmgren going to OKC, I think he can grow into that role. And I mentioned this when I did like I did a video last night. Ain't too many big men in the NBA that can post you down and punish you. It really not. And I thought about that. It's like, yeah, he's skinny. Yeah, he got a small frame. But in today's league, I mean, put a little bit of muscle on and stuff onto you. At least get to 210 by the start of the season, 215. I think you'd be straight if you're him. Just get up to that weight, whatnot, play tough, and pray for no injuries for him. But people worry about the weight and stuff like that. In today's league, I wouldn't stress too much about that because hell, look what we saw in the finals. Golden State at times play 4 out, 5. 1 out, 5, and 4 out. Draymond, he don't do diddly squat offensively. So, and hell, Dallas, they play 5 out. What if I'm coaching OKC? What am I stressing about? To a degree, Karl Anthony Towns don't use his body like he should. So, I look at those guys as winners as going to their situations. Memphis, I can slide right below. Them adding more young talent, which is kind of surprising because I thought maybe they move for a veteran piece, but they're just going to build through the draft and whatnot. And if they can add another piece there and trade one of the young pieces away, so be it. Who are some of your losers?
One of my biggest losers. I hate to say it, with the damn Lakers. That pick had me kind of confused on what they're doing. Now, granted, they did pick late, but we've seen hell of great players get picked late in the draft in any sports draft. So, your scouts have to do that job. But I think that for one, I'll say now more so of the Lakers, and they didn't pick tonight, but Brooklyn.
Yeah.
I don't. Right now, you got that shit going up and down about Kyrie, and they didn't even get a pick tonight. So, who's to say Kyrie had? You trying to figure that out, and you didn't even get a player to move forward with. Now, granted, you have a Kevin Durant, but you need more pieces around him. Security. Moving forward for years, and other teams got better today, and they were one of the teams that didn't. So, them also, I didn't like Minnesota. It just felt like Minnesota didn't to go get another center behind. I think it was Kessler. Kessler is not a bad play. It's just to get the best out of him. His minutes is not going to be there, being the fact of what Karl Anthony Towns is. We know he's going to take a bulk of the minutes. You could have went at the guard position because if you lose D'Angelo Russell, who is so-called on the trade block, now you got to fill that void as well. So for me, I think that those are the teams that played a big, big loss today. Now, granted, the free agency has not kicked in yet, so we'll see different moves moving forward. But as of tonight, I just don't like what those two teams have done, and Brooklyn being at the top because there was no move at all, and also possibly losing one of the top players.
Yeah, I think for the Lakers, and seeing Kenny Chandler get drafted by the Spurs, but he getting traded to the Memphis Grizzlies. So that's a very that was never good. Grizzlies, like I said, very good pickups for them.
Right. Hell of a job over there.
For the Lakers, I thought there were better veteran collegiate players on the board that could have helped your team out now. And you took a Max Christie from Michigan State. I said Michigan. It's Michigan State. Excuse me. But it's just like, where are we going here?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you draft this kid and stick him for the G League for the year, and you get in your veteran pieces and develop this kid for down the line, okay, so be it. But I think that this other kids on the board right now that could have been come in and be contributors right away. Like, look at Herb Jones coming out of Alabama and going to the Pelicans.
And had a hell of a season.
Second round pick, really showed up in the playoffs, really kind of became a household name defensively in the eyes for a lot of folks. You can find those type of guys in the second round. So I was just like, and with these kids coming younger and younger and be more ready to play compared to years past, you can find those type of guys. So I think the Lakers dropped the ball there. The Spurs, I'll say not so losers, but it's just like,
I was thinking that too.
I was like, if these guys pan out, good, but then again, y'all kind of stuck in the middle at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like a wait and see how these guys pan out down the line. And then, like you mentioned, like the Brooklyn Nets, Kyrie got y'all hostage. Y'all really don't want to pay him like that. And then if he goes, Kevin Durant want to go. But, from what I saw online, a person brought this up on Twitter, call on KD's bluff. We'll probably dive in this more on Sunday's show, but call out on KD's bluff. If he loves basketball so much, you play without Kyrie.
That's true.
If you love that game, the game just want to hoop. Okay?
Yep.
You got Ben Simmons here. Kyrie's gone. Here you go.
Get it done. Yeah, and I agree with you there. We've already put Kevin Durant in that category as people are considering him as one of the greatest players already. So if that is the situation, then why not see him play, to that level? He doesn't need another guy to do that. We can talk about who Michael Jordan had with Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman. But I don't think we really can compare Scottie Pippen to how the shooting of Kyrie Irving. Right? Kyrie can create plays and make his own shots. So the comparison between the two is hard to do. So I think that Jordan was just a man of it in his own league. And I think that's what Kevin Durant is going to have to do no matter where he goes. And like I said before, after Warriors won a championship, the pressure's on Kevin Durant. That's just what that is. I think you're muted right now.
Sorry. I think we'll dive more on that on Sunday, depending on how the rest of the weekend shakes out with the Nets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we'll see that situation. So we're gonna wrap this up. We kind of waited, I think, the Lakers pick and see what they did, but it's like, damn.
Hey, that's a way to make everybody want to go home. That pick.
So, D-Lock, tell the people how they can find you on social media.
You guys can find me at Black-813. I definitely would not be sleeping tonight. We got a hell of a pick. I'm pretty excited about that. But anyway, I'll be talking about it on my Twitter, Black-813, and Instagram. Make sure you guys follow us there. Follow me there. And also let them know where you can find our podcast at, man. Tell them about the show we got coming on Sunday and where they can follow us on Instagram or Twitter.
Do follow us at Twitter at Fastbreak at IESR. That is Fastbreak IESR. We go live every Sunday at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific. Also, do follow IESportsRadio.com. Lots of good shows on the network. Do follow us on Twitter on all social media platforms. I think we're getting our TikTok page up and rolling. So do check out that. Also, we do Never Show on the Side. I do Never Show on the Side, excuse me. The Crooks Process. Check me out on Facebook and Instagram. I did a whole bunch of new episodes here lately, so do check those out. I talked about Alabama basketball this season review, Tennessee Titans draft selections, Jeff Hardy getting arrested again, and I will drop that Vince McMahon episode soon, and all his troubles that he stepped down from his position. So that episode will be up soon, and we'll be back here, and we'll be back streaming this upcoming Sunday to talk about wherever happened the draft, what trades might go down here late in the night. We expected some veterans get moved like John Collins, Bradley Beal, Clint Capella, Deontay Murray, so forth. So no major movement. Russell Westbrook also, Kyrie, hell, even Kevin Durant. Shit. Like a lot of names. So from this point, when we end the show until Sunday, we'll talk all about it. So tune in, ladies and gentlemen. Thank y'all for tuning in with us. We'll talk to y'all Sunday.
Out.